And this is what I kept doing. I kept coming over here because I know the drain is right where I'm shooting right there. And now it seems like that drain may be blocked because there's so much debris. You know, the mud and the dirt and whatever this is as well. It's all going to get in those drains and probably going to start clogging some of them as well. So
yeah, some pretty incredible pictures there. Stu, we want to get to Mario Ramirez. He's there on the street. Well, he's got somebody with him. Mario.
Yeah, I want to bring in Jan. She's a resident. You live on Sweetser, is that right?
Yeah, North Sweetser Avenue.
North Sweetser. So tell me, you said you noticed something was wrong last night.
Last night when I went to bed at 10 o'clock, I noticed the water pressure was low, and I thought to myself, who's washing clothes at 10 o'clock at night? And then I didn't think anything of it until I got up this morning to get ready for work, and I heard the helicopters hovering. So I looked it up, and they said it was a water line break. So I texted my doctors to let them know because two of them live in Studio City, and the other one lives up in Encino, so in case we have to cancel patients today, I'm not sure what we're going to do yet.
And where do you work?
I work in the 9201 building.
Okay, and what's your reaction? Howard Wells behind the camera.
I couldn't get over that. I thought, oh my God, when they said days, it may be days, maybe weeks without water. I thought, oh my God.
And look at that sinkhole. This is at Sunset and Holloway Drive. Once the water stopped, this is the scene that we actually got to see, the caved-in cement.
I saw the pictures of the bus garage down there, and it looks like it's got several feet of water. They were saying the buses can't get out.
So you were without water, or you're not sure yet?
I'm not sure. I have to wait till I get to work.
Okay. All right, Jan, thank you for stopping and talking with us. Yeah, I know it's a hassle or a challenge for people getting to work like you, like yourself.
But I can walk.
Yeah, she lives close so she can walk because she's just down the street here, but so many others can't, so they're probably going to show up late to work or have, quite the day trying to get around this. So if you can avoid the area, this isn't going to be open, I'm sure, throughout the day. I mean, look at this. There's no way they are going to be able to repair this stretch of road here at Sunset and Holloway Drive. So you have to also think about the businesses. You have a Supreme clothing store. You have Dialogue Cafe, which we've been talking about. State Tortuga. Looks like a Mexican restaurant. Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. So plenty of businesses that are going to be impacted around here until they get this stretch of road repaired, and you're not going to even be able to drive in the other direction because there's still the concern that more of the road could collapse here. So unbelievable to see. We had water flowing here for hours before LADWP said, hey, this is our pipe and we're working on it to fix it as soon as possible, guys. So
we know that sinkholes can almost be a domino effect where, the sinkhole happens, then it spreads out, and then there's more erosion that takes place, which is why you're being urged to stay inside if you're in this area, to not even approach this neighborhood. Mario, as you were saying, there's video out there of several people who were falling through a buckled sidewalk. They thought it was safe. They were just walking down the street when it collapsed from underneath them. That huge sinkhole that you can see right there near Dialogue Cafe.
It's interesting to me that they're looking at the road here. Maybe they're trying to figure out if any more of this roadway could buckle, or how dangerous this might be. I find it interesting, Mara, that she was saying that she noticed a difference in the water pressure at 10 o'clock last night. So perhaps this was a water main rupture that happened underground, got bigger and bigger, and then really started bursting out of the street at around 3 o'clock this morning when it was first reported.
Yeah, and we just don't know right now. LADWP, again, they are the lead agency here. They're the ones responsible for this ruptured pipe. And yeah, she said she noticed that the water pressure was low around 10 o'clock last night, but this water main break was reported at 3:15 this morning. It wasn't until about 3:55, so roughly almost 30 minutes later, that LADWP or the fire department was even aware of it. So you had 30 minutes where no emergency or at least fire department crews were on the scene. They quickly shut down this area, and then that's when we heard from residents saying they called 911 immediately, and they were told, fire crews will be out there, and we couldn't get a sense of what this would end up looking like. We just saw the water rushing out of this intersection here with pieces of the road buckling, and once it receded here, I would say around 6:30, 6:45, that's when we saw this huge sinkhole here at Sunset and Holloway Drive.
So first reported there at 3:15 this morning, then it became this jockeying as to who was taking the lead here, which agency, because as we heard this morning, West Hollywood was sort of built over this patchwork of piping underneath the infrastructure. Beverly Hills Water, Metropolitan Water District, and LADWP, these pipes all crisscross across each other. So it took some figuring out as to who would be taking the lead here. But ultimately, it was an LADWP water pipe, 36-inch water main that was carrying hundreds of thousands of gallons of water.
This, by the way, is video from earlier this morning, and you can see the water just gushing down Palm there, moving cars, and going all the way down Palm past Santa Monica Boulevard. This is the bus depot at San Vicente next to the Pacific Design Center. Buses also in that Metro bus depot underwater. As it stands right now, the water has stopped, but now residents, I imagine this is going to be a long-term process, how to figure out how much damage was done. For many residents today, the water is going to be shut down. Maybe it could be shut down for days, weeks. You know, how is the city going to respond to this and assist those businesses and assist all these residents that could be impacted by all this on a day that is going to be another super hot day as well. Santa Monica Boulevard shut down at this hour. Sunset will be shut down for at least the entire day. And then, of course, in the next coming days and weeks, they're going to have to try to figure out how to repair the water main breaks, maybe multiple water main ruptures that there have been underneath the city streets there, and then also repair the road as well. So a huge, huge inconvenience and impact to the folks in West Hollywood there.
To say the least. Let's get over to Samara, though, because she has some alternative routes that you could be taking if you have to get through this neighborhood.
Yeah, so of course we're watching the scenes unfold, and just jaw-dropping. All the roadways in and around that major water main break will be impacted for quite some time, so you want to make sure you plan accordingly for that. And we're going to refocus on that area due to that major flooding. Sunset Boulevard and Holloway Drive is shut down in both directions, closed until further notice. It extends all the way from La Cienega Boulevard all the way to Larrabee Street. And you can see also Santa Monica Boulevard from Westbourne Drive to San Vicente Boulevard also shut down. And because the bus depot is also being impacted by this, so we do have major impacts there. You want to make sure you contact the Metro service if if you take any one of those lines. Alternate routes, Crescent Boulevard or Fairfax Boulevard going south, headed towards Melrose Avenue is not too bad, but there are residual delays. Beverly Boulevard is an alternate route as well. You may go further south to 3rd Street or Wilshire Boulevard. We do have eyes on those delays, both the westbound side and eastbound side of Melrose Boulevard. Very slow moving conditions, as well as Beverly Boulevard. So we want to take a look further south. We have 3rd Street, which is a little better. Eastbound side, also a little wide open. Burton Way, looking not too bad either, and Wilshire Boulevard may be your best option to get around that area. Again, the roadways, very unstable, as the LA County Fire Chief said, that you want to stay indoors and avoid the area. We still have a lot more team coverage coming up. Send back over to you, Jen. Bob.
Yeah, significant areas closed right there to through traffic. Stu, I want to get up to you because you're showing us some more pictures that garage that is essentially a swimming pool right now, but also all the mud that's been left behind.
Yeah, the mud, that was, you know, I saw that, somebody was stomping through it. That's kind of got my eye. Take a look at that. That's a curb right there, clearly. But you can see how it kind of disappears with the mud in some spots. That one seems to be one of the worst spots right there. And then, of course, just all of Santa Monica. I would venture to say they're going to have to get some sort of earth mover through here, at least like a snow plow type of deal, but not for snow, but for mud. Take a look at all that. This is all just mud on Santa Monica Boulevard. There's nothing going to be undermined in here. Like, the street's probably solid, but it's completely covered in mud right now. And I would venture to say a lot of that brown water is carrying a lot of that mud as well, and that might be why some of these drains are clogged in that area too. You know, a little bit of movement again with the with that, but it also, okay, so that's probably a drain right there. You can see that swirl. So maybe they're going to be able to get this open again. Maybe it just was too much water for a little bit. So the drainage process still in progress. Santa Monica Boulevard, though, they still have it closed in both directions, at least from San Vicente. That's going to be right over here, even though we do see vehicles driving up and down San Vicente over to what I would venture to say is La Cienega. I haven't actually looked, but that's going to be the next major over. So, and the reason why this is going to be closed, probably because of all that mud in the roadway. They're going to have to clear that as well. But boy, what a devastating morning out here in the West Hollywood area.
So slowly but surely that water is draining from the bus depot. If we can pull up a full screen from LA Metro, if we have that, there are a number of delays that they put out on X lines 2, 4, 10, 14, 16, 20, 134, 602, and 627 are all experiencing delays right now because of this water main break and all the flooding there. So you can see that right there on your screen.
LA County Sheriff's also sent out an advisory on some of the closures here. They are saying Sunset Boulevard between Larrabee and Sherborne, Holloway Drive between Sunset Boulevard and Westmount, Santa Monica Boulevard between San Vicente and Hancock. So all of these areas, they're saying Palm Avenue and Hancock in both directions between Santa Monica Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard. So yes, portions of both Santa Monica Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard will be shut down this morning. So that two major east-west routes through the city of West Hollywood now shut down.
Number of closures. If you're just joining us, we want to let you know there has been a major water main break in the area of Sunset and Holloway that you're looking at right now in West Hollywood. We've been reporting this since around 3:15 is when the first call came in. Multiple streets closed. Water was cascading down the street, pushing cars, flooding businesses. We do have live team coverage of this all morning long. We're going to continue that coverage on the other side of this break. We'll be right back.
Sky.
All right, 7:24 is your time. A live look now from Skyfox and LA Mayor Karen Bass there now at the scene. Take a look at the situation. Of course, this is not under her jurisdiction because this is in the city of West Hollywood. However, the mayor does oversee LADWP, and this is LADWP's line that did rupture and cause the damage. She has spoken a lot about the aging infrastructure of DWP's lines. Some of them, the water main and the infrastructure there, some of it 80 to 100 years old. And it's not the first time, obviously, over the last year or so that we've seen these major water main breaks, although this is a very significant one that impacts a lot of people, not people that are necessarily her constituents, but she's going to be out there. I've spoken to West Hollywood council members as well, and they're preparing to also speak to the press also. So perhaps this is going to be some sort of a joint press conference where they're going to talk about how this has impacted the residents and businesses there in the city of West Hollywood, and how officials there are going to try to support people who are impacted by all of this. So that's the mayor getting information from LA County Fire and LADWP. We expect to hear from her at 7:30, and when that happens, we will bring that to you. We'll have more on this coverage after the break.
All right, if you are just joining us, we are continuing to follow this major water main break out of West Hollywood. It happened just after 3 o'clock this morning, around 3:15. Major water main broke at a very busy intersection. We've been following this with team coverage all morning long. We're awaiting perhaps a joint news conference by L.A. Mayor Karen Bass as well as West Hollywood's mayor. We also have Mario Ramirez, who's been out there at the scene all morning long. This caused extensive flooding all morning. This is pictures that you were looking at from earlier today. The water has since been shut off. A 36-inch water main underneath Holloway and Sunset, a main thoroughfare there in West Hollywood. It broke, carrying hundreds of thousands of gallons of water. We saw a number of condos, apartments, businesses impacted by this. The water is significant enough and forceful enough to push cars down the road, to buckle and cause a giant sinkhole in the middle of the road, but also wash out some parts of the sidewalk. And Mario was telling us this earlier, that several people were walking on top of that sidewalk and it actually collapsed underneath their feet. Not sure what the injuries are there.
They were able to climb out. In fact, let's get right to Mario. He's there at the scene, and we're still awaiting that press conference from city officials, from Mayor Bass. Mario.
Yeah, that's right, Bob. Jen. We could see Mayor Bass. She's being briefed by L.A. County fire officials, the public information officer here on the scene as well. And she arrived maybe about 15 minutes ago from what we could tell. And you see that massive sinkhole here at the intersection of Sunset and Holloway Drive. That's where we arrived this morning. It was around 3:15 it was reported. The road there started buckling in multiple places and water started gushing out. It then made its way down to Holloway Drive and down Palm Avenue, where several garages had been flooded, residents waking up to some damage near the front of their homes. And I want to bring in Bill Adams, right?
Yes.
Bill, what street do you live on? And tell me,
I live on Shoreham, just a block up this hill here.
And do you have water where you are?
Yeah, it's about, have half as much pressure as I usually have. And I woke up to the sound of all of these helicopters and just came down to investigate.
We've also been hearing these alarms. I'm sure the viewers can hear them as well. They've been going on since we've got here. They haven't stopped. What's your reaction to see that massive sinkhole?
That's awful, but I mean, that's a big problem in LA already because so many of the pipes are so old. They go back to 20 to 30. So I think there's we have a lot of work to do in LA anyway. So
and you've experienced water main breaks, you're saying?
I've heard about them. I've never experienced one this close to me before. Yeah. So.
And this is I would say this is the worst, the biggest.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Yeah, it's enormous. Yeah.
What would you say to the mayor? She's here now. She's being assessed. She's assessing the damage, being briefed. What would you say to the mayor?
I don't know. I think that the mayor probably already knows what the situation is, and we have just a long-term, infrastructure problem in LA anyway. So that's all I can say. So.
All right, thanks for talking to us, sure. Bill. So, yeah, we've been hearing from residents all morning, some saying that they're not going to work today. They're not sure how they can even make their way around this. We heard from one lady earlier this morning saying she's walking to work because she just lives a few blocks down from her workplace. So it's definitely still a concern. A lot of the businesses here are not opening. There's a cafe here just behind me, Dialogue Cafe, that should be open. The alarm is going off here at this law firm building. You have the Supreme Clothing Store, which is right next to the parking lot we're standing in. So you have to imagine this is a very busy area, especially throughout the morning, throughout the day as traffic starts picking up. And it doesn't look like this is going to be opened up anytime soon because the damage here is just incredible to see the amount of, the concrete that has collapsed because of all that gushing water that we saw for hours and hours before even an agency, the LADWP, came forward and said, it's our pipe, we're working on it, we've shut it off, and we'll be handling this. So quite the morning here for so many people.
So what do you know about this press conference, Mario? You said Mayor Bass is there, and I think residents in that area, businesses, are going to want to get more information about what caused this, and also just the repairs, how long this is going to last, and the like. This is not, of course, the Mayor Bass is the mayor of the city of Los Angeles, not the city of West Hollywood, although because it is LADWP, they oversee those pipes there with their board of commissioners. So what do we expect to hear from Mayor Bass?
Yeah, exactly, and those are some of the questions that we have. Let's see if we can actually show you Yeah, she's still being briefed right next to that sinkhole. She's talking to LADWP crews. We know, as you mentioned, she is not over the jurisdiction here in West Hollywood, but she does oversee LADWP, and that's the big issue here because LADWP is responsible for the pipeline here that ruptured, and we've been talking about this failing infrastructure all across the city. We've covered so many of these water main breaks, and usually, fortunately, they're shut off within, a shorter time span, but we were out here at close to 3:30 and we saw that water gushing for over 3 hours before it stopped. So some of the issues that the mayor is going to have to address: what kind of help would these residents get if they are at all being handled by LADWP possibly? What does the cleanup here look like? How long will it take LADWP to make these repairs? So we don't know those answers just yet, but the mayor is here. It looks like the mayor of West Hollywood might be nearby as well. So we're going to hear from officials as well as the public information officer who we've been getting information from throughout the morning, running back and forth on his phone. I'm sure he's getting some important updates here as well.
Right, so LA Mayor Karen Bass oversees DWP, and she has had a lot to say in the past about the aging infrastructure. You know that underneath that neighborhood in West Hollywood, as is common with other areas too in Southern California, these pipes are between 80 and 100 years old. So water main breaks happen, yes they do, but not like this. That's according to the LA County Fire PIO Captain Aaron Caton when he was interviewing with you earlier this morning.
So it looks like Mario does have to go, so we're going to watch and wait for the mayor to get to the podium here. It almost seems like it was like a perfect storm, so to speak. I mean, first of all, happening at a major thoroughfare like Sunset Boulevard and Holloway.
So early in the morning.
So early in the morning.
At 3:15.
And also that it was on Sunset, so it's on the top of the hills as the Hollywood Hills goes up into.
Right.
So basically water flows downhill.
And all that water was going down Palm Avenue right toward the bus depot, which is, I mean, you can see right there.
Right.
It was enough to push cars down the street. Yeah, and you're looking at the bus depot there. The water's been receding slowly but surely, but a number of services have been delayed or suspended altogether. You can see where the water is almost going
down that drain, but it doesn't look like there's enough drainage there to get all the water out. And then also, so as I said, the perfect storm, the fact that it happened in the city of West Hollywood, when you talked about this like spider web of water mains underneath the infrastructure in the street there that are under so many different jurisdictions.
It's patchwork, right? So you have a number of different pipes that crisscross each other, and they're all different jurisdictions. So Beverly Hills Water, for example, also contracted under Metropolitan Water District, and then LADWP, which we later found out. But again, through this game of like hot potato, right, they were playing for about 3 hours trying to figure out who's the lead on this, finally narrowed it down to an LADWP pipe that broke, a 36-inch water pipe that carried hundreds of thousands of gallons of water. Luckily, though, Mario was saying this earlier, that the water had turned brown at one point. There was no threat of any of that being potentially sewage or contaminated water.
I mean, the water's going to be shut down for a considerable period of time, and perhaps the mayor, once we hear from her, we can figure out how long these residents, even on a hot day like today, are going to be without water, how long it's going to take to make these repairs. Do we have the statement from Metro? Because we saw that some of the water went down into the Metro depot. This is close to Santa Monica Boulevard and San Vicente, where they have a big Metro depot, and then we saw that the buses there were underwater, the drainage system's not quite enough for the water to subside there, so there probably was significant damage to many of the buses there. And then because Sunset Boulevard and Santa Monica Boulevard will be shut down for a considerable period of time, certainly for this morning commute, some of those buses will be routed. If we have it, we do know that these lines are going to be affected, lines 2, 4, 10, 14, 16, 20, and 134, 602 to 627. So a number of them going right there along Santa Monica Boulevard are going to be impacted and are going to have to take some sort of a detour as they try to figure out whether Santa Monica Boulevard also is going to be impacted for a long period of time as that water subsides.
Let's get out to our Brooke Thomas because she just arrived there at the scene. She has a picture of what it looks like from the ground there. Brooke.
Hey there, I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you, as you can imagine, but yeah, I just got here. Actually, I mean, it was interesting as I started driving here. I was coming up, I believe, San Vicente, and you could start to see the trickle of water, just to give you an idea of how far back this went. But look, this is the big story right here. So I'm right here at Sunset and Holloway, and this massive sinkhole. This is just, again, we've been talking this morning since it started, really, about the residual effects of just the water flowing everywhere. What could happen? This is one of the things that you imagine emergency crews were worried about, hoping didn't happen, but there is a massive sinkhole right there in the middle of the intersection, right at Sunset and Holloway. Mayor Bass is over here to my right, LA Mayor Bass checking things out. She's getting ready for a press conference. We'll have that for you as soon as possible, but I wanted to just hop on here as quick as I could. I got to tell you, I had to run here because the road blockages, I mean, it's just, they go farther back. Even when my photographer got here, before I was off the desk this morning, right? Before the 5 a.m. show ended, Brian Shaw got here, and now what things looked like when he got here, the roadblocks are even further out now. So that's something to keep in mind. They're not even letting people walk here. I just saw a person, she came up and she said, hey, I work on Holloway. How can I get there? And she's struggling to try and figure that out. So you want to make sure that you contact your workplace. Maybe they're not even open. They definitely don't have water, but it might be hard to get where you're going if you're anywhere around this. And, you know, we were talking about Dialogue Cafe. It was interesting as I'm coming up, you just see crowds of people with Dialogue Cafe t-shirts on. They are out of work this morning and trying to figure out, you know, what to do, where to go. It's interesting how far back this goes, but that is just absolutely mind-blowing, this massive sinkhole right there in the middle of the intersection. I'll send things back to you all in the studio. Again, I'll have that press conference as soon as possible.
I'm not sure if we're looking at tape right here, Mario. Okay, yeah. Can you just, as you catch your breath, Book, if you could go to the, pan into that, those officials there speaking, so we could see who's over there. I think you said LA Mayor Karen Bass is over there. Oh yes,
you see Mayor Bass right there.
There is the City of West Hollywood mayor, the current mayor right now, John Heilman, there with the coat on. So there's Danny Hang. He is also a WeHo council member. So this is going to be a joint press conference that we're gonna get here shortly with DWP officials there as well. We're
about a minute away from that press conference. We've just been told here, Bob, just about a minute away.
Okay, so this is going to be a multi-agency and multi-city situation here with DWP having jurisdiction over those lines. The City of West Hollywood, incorporated in 1987, does contract out to several different agencies, and now we know that it's LADWP that is the one that owns, so to speak, these water mains that are underneath, that are to blame for this water main break. And we also know that this is going to impact all of these residents and businesses in the area for probably a very long period of time. So some of the questions here, how will the City of West Hollywood, how will the City of LA support all of the businesses and the residents that are impacted here, when they will get their water back, how long will it be before these major thoroughfares are back up and running and open so that they can let traffic go through there.
I'm also certain there's going to be boil water advisories for days to come because the water's been shut off, and once it actually does come back online, they're going to be facing a number of questions, namely why it took so long to shut the water off in the first place, and this back and forth between the different agencies that oversee these pipes and the infrastructure.
Looking at pictures from earlier this morning, yeah, the water main first. Oh, here they're on their way here over to the press conference and the cameras here. Again, we see LA Mayor Karen Bass there, side by side with City of West Hollywood Mayor John Heilman. Another council member there just behind him, that's Danny Hang. Let's listen in.
First of all, let me just start off by acknowledging the difficulty that this break is causing, especially to commuters. At this point in time, we believe that is the main challenge that commuters will face and that residents will face. So as you can see, this is a major water break impacting the area. While the water is now off, everyone should avoid the area as the DWP crews work urgently to address this situation. Dave Hansen, the general manager for DWP, will share more details shortly. But city crews are on site, obviously, and have been on site since the very beginning. They're working urgently, and they have been for the last several hours, to turn off the water here and assess the damage. These are highly pressurized pipes, so crews needed to work very carefully to avoid any further damage. You see there is a major sinkhole right here. Law enforcement and traffic officers will remain on the ground as crews continue to make progress on this incident. DWP will also have personnel on the ground to assist with damage assessments and claims. People can also go to this website, ladwp.com/claims. I want to thank our crews, all of our crews, especially at DWP, for working urgently to respond to this incident. And again, I have to urge everyone to avoid this area. We will provide more information as progress is made. And let me also say that this is one of the challenges when our infrastructure is so old. It's my understanding that these pipes are over 100 years old. Let me, before we introduce the general manager of the DWP, you know we are right on the border of Los Angeles City and West Hollywood. And with that, let me introduce the mayor from West Hollywood, John Heilman. Oops.
Thank you, Mayor Bass, and good morning. Welcome to the City of West Hollywood. I'm John Heilman. I'm the mayor, and I'm joined by our vice mayor, Danny Hang. As Mayor Bass said, we had a major leak and a sinkhole, and I want to thank our partners in LA and DWP for responding so quickly. The good news is that all of our residents, to our knowledge, are safe. There was some street flooding this morning, some sub-garages that were flooded, but that seems to be abating. Our city staff responded immediately. We have set up an evacuation zone if that appears to be necessary, but at this time it does not appear that any of our residents will have to evacuate. We continue to assess, we continue to work with DWP, but as Mayor Bass said earlier, what we really need from people is to avoid this area on Sunset. Sunset is closed. There are major traffic disruptions in the area. We will continue to notify people of those traffic disruptions and alternative routes. I am going to turn it over now to the people who are here, who are assessing the damage and who are going to help us fix this problem. Dave Hansen from LA DWP.
Thank you. Good morning. As you can see behind me, we had a leak this morning at around 2:30 a.m. that's caused some of the damage to the street behind us. We'd like to extend our apologies to the community for the impact that this does have to you. Luckily, at this time, we don't have services that are out, so everybody does have clean water that's safe to drink. It's mainly the impact to the transit and the morning commute down Sunset Boulevard. So because of that major inconvenience, we intend to have crews out here and stay committed to this restoration project until we're complete, until it's back in service. We have activated the Emergency Command Center for the Department of Water and Power. That puts us in communication with the City Emergency Management Department as well as West Hollywood. We're also collaborating with other city family, LAFD, LAPD. I've spoken to both of those heads of department this morning personally. So we are collaborating, communicating, and we're going to get as many resources out here as possible to try to get this return to service as quickly as possible and minimize the continuing impact to the community. I'd like to introduce Mr. Anselmo Collins. He's our Chief Operating Officer for the water system, and he can provide you with some specific details about the water system. Thank you.
Good morning. Anselmo Collins, Chief Operating Officer of the water system. So as you know, we had a leak around 2:30 to 3 o'clock in the morning. The leak was of a 36-inch trunk line. It's a 1916 36-inch riveted steel pipe. As you can see behind us, it also caused a sinkhole. There are multiple utilities in this area, including an 8-inch water main that we own and operate, which is currently feeding our customers. I believe that right now we have one customer without water. We are working on providing temporary water connection to them. We also have a couple of hydrants in the immediate vicinity that are impacted. So we're coordinating with the fire department to ensure that they know which ones those are. Everybody else does have water because the 8-inch water pipe is the distribution pipe. That is the pipe that feeds the service connections. That particular pipe is fully operational, fully pressurized, and is providing water to the customers. So all the customers should, for the most part, except for one, should actually have water right now as we speak. We've also checked with the city of West Hollywood. We physically went to some of the buildings, and we were able to also see that they also have water. Our intent is once we have everything shut down, and by the way, the trunk line itself has been shut down. We shut a valve on the east side and the west side of that trunk line where the break took place. Now what we're doing is shutting some smaller valves. Once everything is shut down, we're going to, when it's safe, we'll go in, we'll pump the water out of the hole that we have. We'll make an assessment. That will determine then how long it will take us to make the repairs. So at this point, I don't have an ETA on when the trunk line will be back in service. But luckily, all our customers right now have safe, reliable water to drink. Thank you.
Any questions?
Can you talk a little bit more about the aging infrastructure and what is being done to make sure we don't have these catastrophic incidents?
Sure. I mean, I think in the city of Los Angeles, throughout our city, our infrastructure is extremely old. Surprisingly, our city has never had a comprehensive infrastructure plan. I spent the last couple of years developing a comprehensive infrastructure plan, of which we rolled out about 2 months ago. One of the first steps for our city to have a plan, we had to change different aspects of the city charter. Those parts of the city charter that needed to be changed passed city council in their last session and will be on the ballot in November. Up until now, the city's infrastructure was handled on a 15 council person basis. And so it is very difficult to repair the infrastructure that impacts the entire city, and clearly two cities, West Hollywood and Los Angeles, without a citywide plan.
Water and power question for you guys. Can you tell us a little bit why this break might have happened? Thinking about infrastructure, give us an indication as to why it happened. And then as we see these sinkholes there, I know you saw this one. There's another one right around the corner.
Exactly.
We saw people fall in. Can you give us an indication? Might there be more?
Sure, let me address that question. So right now we don't know the reason why we had the rupture. Once again, it's a 1916 trunk line. Usually what happens in the middle of the night, the pressures in the system are the highest, and that's because there's no demand. Everybody's asleep. So consequently, normally that's when you see a water main break take place. This particular trunk line, like I said, it's 1916, it's aging. But I do want to reiterate that we have a pretty significant water infrastructure program. We actually install and replace around 45 miles of pipe every single year in the city. We are a city that has 7,400 miles of pipe. So those 7,400 miles of pipe includes the distribution pipes, but also includes the trunk lines. So we have crews dedicated to only replacing trunk lines, as well as crews, over 30 crews that are throughout the city replacing our distribution pipes on a yearly basis. So we have a very aggressive program. Unfortunately, sometimes there may be parts of the pipeline where you end up with a weak spot, and it reveals itself when you have these type of leaks. One of the things that we try to do also to be preventive with these is that we actually can do assessments using sounding equipment to find leaks. So even before the leak comes up to the surface, my staff is out there listening and putting equipment that actually allows us to hear and see if there's any leaks in the system that have not surfaced yet.
So can you talk a little bit more about when I got to the scene at around 4 a.m., there was confusion as to who the responsibility fell on.
Yeah.
That played into the delay of the water being turned off, or was it more of a complicated grid situation? Explain to us how that water finding did.
Absolutely. So yes, there are multiple utilities here. As a matter of fact, our wholesaler, the Metropolitan Water Districts, has a 32-inch main right next to ours. So when the break took place, nobody was quite certain where it was. We were able to figure it out pretty quickly because we were able to see in our SCADA system the impacts that it was having on our facilities. So we were pretty clear that it was a DWP water pipe that was being impacted. So my staff mobilized immediately. The first thing that we need to do is make sure that the area is safe and then start shutting the valves. So my staff has been out here for a couple of hours now, systematically shutting the valves needed to isolate it. But there are multiple utilities in the area, another water company as well, and I think that's why some people were not certain.
Is that a normal amount of time expected to shut the water flow in something this major?
It really depends on the situation, because what happens is you try to find the two closest valves that would actually isolate the leak. Sometimes, depending on those valves, we have to go further back. These are pretty large valves. It takes sometimes hundreds, if not thousands of turns to actually shut the valve completely. So it's a very systematic process. You also don't want to do it too quickly because you can cause water hammer. So what staff is trained to do is to shut the valve at a pace that will ensure that we can shut it as quickly as possible, but also as safely as possible. We don't want to cause another problem by creating water hammer.
And also, I know the water
Oh boy. I'm sorry, what was the question?
Water came out before it was shut off?
At this point, I don't know. We'll be looking into that and finding out.
And I know you guys tried really hard to make it clear, but just to reiterate to our viewers, because there's a bit of a discrepancy with some customers out with our other crew about the safety of water right now. They don't need to boil water. They should have clean water. Everyone should have water.
Correct. Everybody should have water. Once again, the pipe that's feeding the customers is the 8-inch water main. That 8-inch water main has remained in service this entire time, pressurized and full of water, so the customer should have no concerns about the quality or the quantity of the water being provided.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll keep you informed as progress is made.
All right, we just heard there from LADWP, Mayor Bass, LA Mayor Bass, Karen Bass, West Hollywood City Mayor John Heilman as well. And you heard our Brooke Thomas there at the press conference asking that very important question about the water, which they claim residents in the city of West Hollywood should have water. There is no boil water order, that the water is clean, which is very good news for all of the residents and the businesses in the area that may have thought that this water would be shut off and this would be impacted for a long period of time. But the official there saying that this is an 8-inch water main that services the West Hollywood area or that area, and not this 36-inch main that caused the rupture.
So the water has since been shut off, and now structural engineers, you can see them out there dealing with a number of issues as a result of this water main break. That huge sinkhole there on Holloway and Sunset. In addition to that, there's also a number of sidewalk buckling they're dealing with, and we just heard from city officials. We're going to continue our coverage on the other side of this break. 8 o'clock hour is coming right back. LA. It's 8 o'clock. We do continue to follow breaking news this morning. A massive water main break flooding a West Hollywood neighborhood.
Some pictures from earlier this morning. Look at all of that. Unbelievable images. Streets turning into rivers, flooding apartment complexes, pushing cars. The extent of the damage is still not entirely clear this morning. For more on the very latest, let's bring in Mario. He's live there at the scene. Mario.
Yeah, we're at the intersection here, Sunset and Hollywood Drive, where this all started, and we can tell you that massive sinkhole here behind me. We just heard from the mayor of West Hollywood, the mayor of LA, Karen Bass, and LADWP crews talking about exactly how they're going to tackle this and the aging pipe infrastructure system across the city. Alexandra is a nearby resident here. You were saying you're not sure quite yet if you have water or not.
Yeah, we are not sure if we have water, but we went to a coffee shop a few blocks, like 0.25 miles away, and they didn't have water. This is from like something that they brought, like bottled water.
Yeah, I've heard from at least 3 residents in the last 5 minutes since the mayor was talking, saying that they don't have water, and you just said one of the businesses there down the street doesn't have water.
Right.
So it seems like there's some misinformation or something's going on.
Yeah, we'll have to see when we get home.
What's your reaction to see sinkhole, what the damage did?
I told my boyfriend that I felt like I was in a Spielberg movie. Like, it was very surreal hearing the sound and then like coming down and seeing such a massive hole like this was like took my breath away. It was really surreal and unfortunately scary.
All right,
and
thanks,
I hope everybody's okay.
Yeah, fortunately, no injuries, at least from what we know, no evacuations. We did see part of a sidewalk collapse. Thank you so much. Down Palm Avenue, and 2 people fell in, minor injuries. They climbed out. They were able to, leave. Didn't appear that they were harmed. So let's go to video here. I want to show you what this looked like at its peak. This was first reported around 3:15 this morning, and you can see that fast-moving water flooding roadways here. Emergency crews responding. They were here just before we arrived. We seen the Dialogue restaurant here, the cafe, at the intersection of Holloway and Sunset being flooded here, at least the patio. It looked like water may have been gushing into the front entrance there through part of the morning. You might be able to hear the fire alarms still going, several out here. Residents early this morning, they called 911 to report the flooding. Others were asking for sandbags in the area of Santa Monica Boulevard and Larrabee Street. And if we come back out here live, I just want to show you the buckling here along the road, along Sunset Boulevard, which is closed right now. I mean, this is quite the scene, and when we were out here earlier this morning, we could only see the flowing water coming from some of these spots, and it wasn't until 3.5, 4 hours later all this water started receding, and that's when we really saw this sinkhole. So I do want to mention LADWP called its program to replace the aging pipes here aggressive. They said during that news conference with the mayor, they install 45 miles of pipe, or replace 45 miles of pipe every year. The city has about 7,500 miles of pipe throughout, and they were able to figure out quickly, they say, the impact and determined it was an LADWP pipe, and they systematically shut down the valves that were needed. I want to see if I can grab another resident to see if they have water. They might not know. Sir, how you doing? Do you live in the area?
Yeah, I live up on Horn.
On Horn. Do you have water right now, can we ask?
Yeah, we do, but my neighbors don't, so it's like hit and miss up there.
Got it. What's your reaction? Is this the first time you're seeing this damage?
Crazy, yeah. But God bless living in LA. I mean, at least there's a quick reaction to it, so we'll just have to see how long it takes.
And why do you say that? Have you experienced water main breaks before?
No, never before. But woke up to text that said there was a big water main break, and there was no water in our building, and then an hour later there was. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah. So right now you have you
correct. Yeah, I have water. So top of the hill.
Yeah. Thanks for talking to us.
My neighbors don't.
But his neighbors don't. That's right. Let me see if I can grab one more. Do you have water right now?
No.
No water. What street are you on?
On Horn.
On Horn. The mayor was just out here, and LADWP crew saying that the water's on, that customers, not too many, should be impacted. I think they said 1 or 2, but we're hearing from so many that say they don't have water, or the water pressure's very low. What would you say?
I just checked my water right before coming out, and it knocked, and there was a trickle, and then it stopped. So we have no water. And I'm just trying to assess whether or not we can get out from our homes and go to work, and certainly not this way.
Yeah.
But maybe down by Shoreham we can go out. I'm going to take her for a little walk, and and just see what's going on.
We've heard from so many residents saying they're going to have to either be late or call in because this is just a mess to get around. What's your reaction to see that damage here, that sinkhole?
It makes me very sad, actually. It makes me emotional because I don't see how that's going to be a quick fix. And
tell me about this area. This is
such a wonderful area to live. I've lived here since 1990, and it's safe. Our neighbors are all wonderful. It's a beautiful area to live, you know. And our little pocket, because it's a dead-end street, we don't hear the noise really from Sunset Boulevard. It's just a perfect area to live.
We were just hearing from the mayor, Mayor Karen Bass. She's nearby. What would you say to the mayor if you could talk to her face to face?
Well, I'd say that we need money spent on infrastructure. I think this was an accident probably waiting to happen. Our pipes are all old. I mean, in my building, the pipes are old. So, but, you know, it's not her fault. It's like... Everybody lives in earthquake country and doesn't think about it. Same thing, we have old pipes and we don't think about it until there's an emergency. So.
Well, thanks for talking to us. Guys, it's also very hot out here, sweating all morning, and we know there's a red flag warning in place for some parts of Southern California for another hour. So you also have to imagine the resources here that have been drained because of this ongoing water main break. And fortunately, there hasn't been an emergency, but if there was some kind of fire, you also have to think about the response. A lot of fire crews are here and limited resources in the area as well. So something else to consider. For now, live, we'll send it back to you.
Could you reiterate, Mario, what the mayor said about the infrastructure and about how the pace at which they're fixing the infrastructure there? Because you said 45 miles per year is how much they are replacing, and that the city still has over 7,000?
Yeah, 7,500. So 7,500 pipes throughout the city that LADWP is responsible for. 45 miles of pipelines that they replace each year. So that's a small portion of the 7,500. But I believe they said this aging pipe was from 1916.
Yeah, 1916.
So one of the residents said, when was the last time... Yeah, one of the residents here said, when was the last time you met someone from 1960?
Right. Good point. Well, but you just wonder at that pace, like, you know, even as aggressive as it is, like, you know, it's like...
I mean, it's everywhere. These pipes are old everywhere underneath Los Angeles. And this apparently, Mario, from what LADWP told us, it was a trunk line, which is a transmission line. They're fairly large. They carry water from reservoirs, treatment plants, pumping stations. And also, to follow up on that, Mayor Bass was saying there is no comprehensive infrastructure plan. That's been something that she's been working on, which is why there was all this jockeying with 3 separate agencies for a couple of hours while this water was flowing full force as to who was the lead agency on this.
And we heard the mayor say that they quickly came out here and figured out whose pipe it was, and LADWP, the manager, the head there that we heard from, said that they were on top of it. But, I mean, we were out here ourselves, and we watched, and we were getting updates from the public information officer. I'd say we arrived around 3:30, 3:45. We did, we went through the 4 o'clock hour, the 5 o'clock hour, still no update on whose pipe it was. We talked to the PIO directly. He didn't know. He said that multiple agencies were out here trying to figure out whose pipeline it was. And so when you hear some of the officials say that they came out here and they were on top of it as quickly as possible, I mean, from what we could see, rushing water for 4 hours.
Right, but there's also discrepancy, Mario, between...
But it wasn't a quick process.
When you were talking to people just now who live in this area, saying that they don't have water yet, they don't have clean drinking water yet.
DWP insists
that they have clean drinking water.
Yeah, exactly. And like that woman said, the coffee shop just down the street doesn't have water right now, and she just got the coffee, so they're probably using, their reserve water. Something else that's interesting, none of these businesses are going to be opening anytime soon. And if, I don't know if we could show them, Howard, the Supreme clothing store right here, they actually have a major drop on Thursdays. Well, so there's actually 2 people. Right, come on over, guys. These 2 guys were waiting in front of the store. You guys came for that drop at the Supreme clothing store. It took you a while to get around here, but you don't even know if they're going to open right now.
It's a tragic day on Sunset Boulevard. unfortunately, we had to park around like half a mile away, and we walked here. All the surrounding streets are completely closed off. No way. Traffic is crazy. And we have, unfortunately, we came from the IE, the Inland Empire, for the Supreme drop, and we don't know what's happening. This is like a big event in Supreme history, summer, spring 2026, and like, we don't know what's going on. And we're sad because Sunset Boulevard, how long is this going to take to fix? Maybe months, weeks, hopefully. That's all we could wish for, is for Sunset to be back as normal. Like,
let me ask, how many people usually line up here at the Supreme store on a drop like this?
Hundreds. This is a big event.
Sometimes the whole parking lot would just be filled. Especially
like the Supreme Summer Scale. All the items are on sale, discounts. Even them, it's like they really think like there's other people here. It's just like it's crazy that they allowed this to happen.
Yeah, so one of the many businesses that are impacted here, and these guys came all the way from the IE looking for that drop on Thursday, likely not going to happen today. They're supposed to open at 11 o'clock, so we'll see how these businesses sort of transition or adjust to what's happening here.
We're definitely of a different generation.
It's a quintessentially LA interview that you just did out there, Mario. But yeah, it's true. I mean, these businesses will be impacted for days to come. You think of Dialogue Cafe, which is hugely popular in that area. The employees, that's right.
All impacted.
So much fallout from this.
The loss in revenue that they have for the day.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mario. We're going to check in with you. Let's talk about Metro.
Right now, that's right.
Because we've been trying to reach out to them. We're asking them about that Metro depot. Here's the statement that they made this morning. Early this morning, flooding from a water main break forced the closure of Sunset Boulevard in San Vicente and La Cienega, blocking the entrance to Metro Division 7. That's that bus depot, and impacting the maintenance facility. So they are also saying that Metro service continues in the area with Metro bus lines 2, 4, 10, 14, 16, 20, 134, 602, and 627, and they are experiencing delays there, and there are detours around the flooding.
Last we saw from Stoop and Skyfox is the water was slowly but surely going down at that lot, that big bus depot lot near. What is this that we're looking at?
This is a lot
This is the sinkhole, right?
There. So that's that sinkhole.
So so Stu's giving us these pictures right now. But yeah, that bus depot, there was still some significant water there that's being drained.
And at the very least, with this sinkhole, there obviously a tremendous amount of damage there. It's going to be shutting down that part of at least Sunset and Holloway there, and one lane for a considerable amount of time, which is really going to do a number there to traffic there for the foreseeable future.
Everything at a standstill there in this section of West Hollywood. If we can go to Brooke, because she is there on the scene with a different picture for us. Brooke, can you hear us?
Yeah, hey, I am right here on the scene in front of this massive sinkhole here at Holloway and Santa Monica. It's interesting that Sunset, excuse me, not Santa Monica, Holloway and Sunset, where this massive sinkhole is. It's interesting because, you know, we were able to hear from both the mayor of West Hollywood, the mayor of Los Angeles, also the COO of the water department, also an employee from LADWP as well. They were all out here to talk about expectations, the future, what happened, and what's going on right now. And it's interesting that what's going on right now, they say it's the sinkhole. It's the sinkhole. It's the impact on traffic, being able to get through the area safely. And their biggest thing they wanted everybody to do is stay away from this area, stay away from Sunset in West Hollywood, for your safety and for the fact that there's just no way to get through in many of these areas. And there's no timeline as to when things will not be blocked off. Earlier, officials said that basically what they're doing right now, what they're working on, is pumping all of the water out of this hole, and only then will they be able to better assess how long it will take to even get started repairing this. And so there's no word at this time on when, you know, traffic will be smooth, but you can imagine it's going to be quite a bit. What I thought was interesting also this morning, listening to everyone talk, was they talked about the type of preparations, right? We heard the water department talk about how they saw the flooding happening. They saw the water coming before we were able to see it, right? So they started immediately working on getting it stopped, blocking those valves at that 36-inch pipe, in order to try, I guess, to prevent what we ended up seeing. And I did ask, was it at a normal amount of time? Because I spent a lot of time this morning talking about how really elaborate it is to try and stop something like this once it starts. And so I asked, was it a normal amount of time to get the water flow to stop? Because it seemed to, all of us outsiders who don't work for water management, that it took a really long time. And the response was that it depends on how big of a problem it is. Also, what they touched on, we're talking about water, right? We're talking about the homes, the businesses in these areas, and whether they have water. And they continue to reiterate that all but one customer does have water, saying they walked door to door, also saying that that pipe in question, the trunk line, had nothing to do with where the water supply comes from in the first place. Listen to this.
Everybody should have water. Once again, the pipe that's feeding the customers is the 8-inch water main. That 8-inch water main has remained in service this entire time, pressurized and full of water, so the customer should have no concerns about the quality or the quantity of the water being provided.
Luckily, at this time, we don't have services that are out, so everybody does have clean water that's safe to drink. It's mainly the impact to the transit and the morning commute down Sunset Boulevard.
So, for people who are worried, people who haven't been inside the house for a while, it's best to go back home, test things out, and report things to the city if you do still have an issue. They said you should go to ladwp.com/claims. So that's important because as of right now, officials tell us that you should have water. Their main concern is what you are looking at right now and how that is going to impact traffic through this area on Sunset for quite a bit of time. Back to you.
I figured it out because the people who are saying that they do not have water are on Hancock, which is north of Sunset. So maybe they asked people who were down that street along Palm if they had water, and they had water, but the people north of there in Hancock are reporting that they don't have water.
Although
if they ever come back.
They should be careful with how they phrase everybody, because there are a number of people who've been impacted by this who live in all different directions. So when you say everybody, and then Mario's out there talking to neighbors who are passing by, some of whom have water, some of whom don't have water.
Right.
So that painting this big brush that everybody has water might have been.
We'll have to, if we get to check in with them. Also, it is an excellent question, Brooke, because if they have monitoring systems at the LADWP that show a loss of pressurization, so they already knew that there's a tremendous amount of water loss at one of their water mains, and they knew it was theirs, why did it take that long for them to close these valves? I mean, and is that...
No, that's been my...
Yeah.
One of my biggest questions throughout this, right? You wonder, because it did seem to take a long time, and obviously, for regular people, we're just standing there watching that, and you think, why can't you shut it down? Why can't you turn it off? They say it was a 36-inch steel trunk line, and that they were able to shut the valves down on both the east and the west side. But essentially, I don't want to say normal, but to reiterate exactly what he said, but I think because of how big the issue was, it was the time expected, that they expected it would take to get everything shut down, dealing with everything they had to deal with. And also going back to the water shutoff, that's going to be an interesting conversation as we continue to talk to people, because as they explained it, they are two different situations, and the water wasn't affected in the first place, the water supply. So they're saying there was never an issue. You couldn't not have water because you haven't lost pressurization, you have safe, clean drinking water. What happened with the 36-inch steel trunk line had nothing to do with the water supply in these homes and businesses. Again, that's from authorities. And so, I think we all out here, we asked it repeatedly because we just want it to be very clear, because, you're going back to people who say, well, I don't have water. They say they went door to door, and all but one customer. And also, just on that note, when you say all but one customer could be a building, right? It doesn't necessarily mean one person. That could be a building full of businesses. That could be an apartment building, a large apartment building. That part wasn't clear, but they said one customer is without water, and that they are working right now on getting them an alternate water supply.
And the overnight pressure apparently on these lines is at the highest, which is why water main breaks tend to happen overnight. And Mario, we heard him speak to somebody earlier this morning, a neighbor out there, who said that last night, as of 10:30, there was a woman who had noticed a drastic difference in her water pressure.
Yeah.
So there were some signs there, just not clear, how that was how that manifested itself, at least from the LADWP standpoint. Let's bring in Stu. He's been bringing us these overhead pictures all morning long. Pretty stunning images. And Stu, you can see that giant sinkhole that they've now started to drain on Holloway and Sunset.
That's right. That truck right there is going to start pumping the water out so the repairs can start. DWP, they got their golden helmet guys out here, and you know that means the big bosses are in town, and they're going to keep an eye on what's going on. You know, I can't talk to anybody down there on the ground, but we can show you some of the damage. That one right there, that big sinkhole. And then, of course, if we move Skyfox just a little bit out of the way, we got to get around that building. See that other sinkhole where those people fell in earlier this morning. We've been watching as crews have been basically making their way down Palm Avenue and basically caution taping all these areas that are going to be needing repairs. DWP workers down there assessing the damage. There's probably multiple utilities in that area that have been affected by that sinkhole. We saw cables. We might even have the gas company down there as well. No, there isn't a gas leak, but there may be gas lines down there as well. As you make your way down, there's other spots where you see that caution tape. They're starting their repairs. You got the fire department down there as well, probably doing some inspections, making sure that the buildings are up to code and there is no major damage or any kind of obvious or possible starts of a problem. So you can see them walking down Palm right now, checking out every building, and those underground garages are definitely going to be something they're going to be looking at. Making a big move now, and we're going to get down to Santa Monica Boulevard. It is open, which is odd in itself in both directions. A little bit of a Google Earth shot, but we're going to work with it, not a problem. And you can see right there, thick mud on the roadway in both directions. This is kind of where it all just kind of thickened up, and maybe the water wasn't enough to push it, and the sediment just laid down right here. At some point, they're going to have to clean that up. So they're probably going to be closures, but right now, Santa Monica moving in both directions. And the big question, the bus yard. Well, the water is slowly going down. Just from the time we've been here, we got back probably maybe 20 minutes ago. We can see that it has kind of receded a little bit more, but I don't see that little vortex anymore again. So maybe that drain is stuck one more time. But look at all that water that's still standing. And again, Bobby was talking about it, Station 7 for the buses. There's going to be lots of delays and rerouting going on. It is a major incident that's happening out here in West Hollywood, affecting so many of these people in the shot that we're seeing. All those apartments, they're going to have some kind of issue. And again, is the water on? Is the water off? That's a tough one. I'd have to speak to somebody down there, but I can tell you Sunset definitely going to be closed in both directions. You can see right there, that's going to be Larrabee. I don't even know if they really let you get to Larrabee, but Larrabee is one end of it, and let's see what the other one is. And the other intersection is going to be Sherborne is where they're going to be turning you around. So it's going to cause a lot of problems in the West Hollywood area indeed.
Big time. Stu, yeah, this is... Boy, so right now we're looking at them draining that large sinkhole, and I'm wondering how long it's going to take ultimately to make this road passable. I mean, there's going to be so much work that has to be done to reinforce the ground there, to build it up. All the work they have to do to drain that water. And then there's always, as we know, a spider web effect that happens with sinkholes like this. So I'm sure they're going around and making sure that it doesn't happen here, that the rest of the ground is intact and not eroded.
Definitely, you know, we've watched this in the past. They're gonna drain it. They're gonna dig it up. They're gonna find that problem, and then they're gonna have to bring in dirt to refill it. And like you said, make sure that that dirt isn't, all the mud that's around there is gonna be out or dried out somehow, and then they're gonna refill it with new dirt and then redo the repaving. This is gonna be going on for some time. I heard that one fire official say probably into the night. They'll be working into the night, but I venture to say there's gonna be street closures out here for some time. This is a huge hole, and I'm sure DWP, especially when you've got Mayor Bass standing there and all those officials watching over their shoulder, they're going to be working 24/7. Hopefully they'll get it done quickly. Some of the other damage there on the street, those underground parking, all those people that have lost vehicles, the personal stories, that really gets to me. I just couldn't even imagine what a lot of these folks are waking up to and dealing with this morning.
Right. Break out the bilge pumps, because this is going to take a long, the sub pumps is going to take a long time for them to pump all of this out and clean up that mess. And yeah, DWP, they're going to be working quickly because they have been under the microscope as of late. So hopefully they get working quickly.
Let's get over to Samada now, because she has more on how this water main break is impacting traffic.
Yes,
in a big way.
Big time. Good morning, Jen and Bob, and to all our viewers. And we've got the continuation of team coverage, and unfortunately expect long delays, long duration delays, as the crews, of course, on the scene working hard to, again, get things up and going. But it will be a while, and the big story will be the commute in and around the area. And I would expect the unexpected in terms of closures. There's moving closures, and Stu just showed us that Santa Monica Boulevard, at least a portion of it, moving, but that could also rapidly change. But what we do know is, of course, the major water main break, the flooding conditions is at Sunset Boulevard and Holloway Drive to that big sinkhole. Closures, Sunset Boulevard, both directions from La Cienega all the way to Larrabee. We also have a Holloway Drive, both directions shut down, and Santa Monica Boulevard, at least from the Westbourne Drive at the San Vicente Boulevard, impacted. Metro bus lines due to, again, that bus depot. If you take any one of these lines, you want to make sure you give yourself extra time. And the 2, 4, 10, 14, 16, 20, the 134, 602, and the 627 being heavily impacted. Alternate routes, Crescent Heights Boulevard or Fairfax Boulevard going southbound, and then you'll encounter, of course, Belrose Avenue, Beverly Boulevard, 3rd Street, and Wilshire Boulevard. These are all going westbound. Major delays. We are picking up a lot of slowing. We're looking at speeds down to about 4 miles an hour on Beverly Boulevard, and now possibly Wilshire is being impacted with 2 mile an hour conditions. So in and around the area, heavily impacted. And again, avoid the area until further notice. Back to you two.
All right, Samana, thank you. A live look now from overhead, West Hollywood. Sunset Boulevard, as Samana said, still closed. Santa Monica Boulevard starting to reopen, and water slowly being restored to that area. We'll have more coverage after the break.
Worst shoulders advance.
Welcome back to Good Day LA. At 8:30, we continue to follow breaking news this morning. A major water main break flooding a West Hollywood neighborhood. Some incredible images coming out of Sunset and Holloway.
Yeah, this could have been much worse here, but a lot of damage, of course, done to all of these buildings, these residences, and these businesses in the city of West Hollywood along Palm, Sunset Boulevard, Santa Monica Boulevard. We've got Mario live there at the scene. He's been there all morning long with the very latest. Mario.
Yeah, that's right, Bob. And we've been talking to residents. We've been watching here as LADWP crews are now starting to pump the water out of that sinkhole. It looks, I mean, we can't see how deep it is, but it looks like it could be several feet deep. Scott, I want to bring you in here. You were watching that news conference live with the mayor of LA, West Hollywood, and LADWP crews. What did you make of it? They said they were out here very quickly to this emergency.
As far as I can see, they were right on top of things. And it was just surprising because the water went off for a short time in my building. I live above the street here. It went back on, and that was great. And then they did the newscast with water and power. And he goes, yeah, well, everybody has water except one person. And they're trying to get water to that one person. I don't know who that could be or why, but I mean, they jumped on this right away. They had the heavy trucks coming out, and it doesn't do it justice to look on your TV, like Channel 11, until you see it in person and realize how huge it is and the impact it's going to have on traffic here for weeks, I'm sure.
And this is the result of hours of gushing water here at Sunset and Holloway Drive. This was the origin point from what we gathered this morning. So it was going on from about 3:15, and we didn't see the water receding until 6:30, 6:45. So
not an easy process turning it off. It takes hundreds and hundreds. If you go too fast, it could cause damage. You do it too slow, it could cause damage. So the expertise of knowing how to slowly, safely turn the water valves off.
What's your reaction to see that damage here?
I'm shocked, and I'm also, you know, it's tough enough traffic here. Now that this is probably going to be weeks, I would think, if not more, to fix that sinkhole with lanes being blocked or one lane each way, who knows, but you know.
Unbelievable to think that it could be, I mean, we don't know the timeline, but like you're saying, it could be weeks based on what you can see here.
When you come and go here, you never know if you're going to get out with traffic, people blocking the streets, but you know, things could always be worse.
All right, thank you.
Nobody was hurt.
I appreciate it, Scott. Yeah, thankfully nobody was hurt. I want to bring in another resident here. You live nearby. This is your neighbor here.
Yes, I live at the top of the hill as well.
And what was it like waking up this morning? Did you have water? What was your situation?
By the time I checked, I did have water. It was the helicopters were going off for a long, long time. I just, I don't think I didn't realize it was like this bad. It didn't look quite as bad as this, like even on the news. It's pretty massive, yeah.
And what are your plans? Are you like having to miss work or?
I'm going to be able to work from home today, but I mean, I'm leaving town. I have errands to run, so I haven't really figured out how. Obviously, we're not going to be able to leave, so haven't figured out how we're going to refigure things, sort of not knowing when we can get out.
And quickly talk to me about some of the businesses here. We've seen, like, you know, Dialogue Cafe, Mexican restaurant, Supreme clothing store. Doesn't look like they're going to be opening anytime soon.
Yeah, no, everything's closed. The Coffee Bean. I mean, we're not going to. I mean, Sunset is closed. This is like such a busy thoroughfare. You know what I mean? Traffic's already bad trying to get anywhere right along here. So I can't even imagine what this is going to do for the next couple of weeks, but let alone today.
Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate your perspective. So that's something that we'll, of course, be following as well, how long it takes for this stretch of road to be open. I want to let you listen to the mayor, Mayor Karen Bass. She was at a press conference here near that sinkhole just a short time ago. She explained some resources that are going to be available for residents. Take a listen.
You see, there is a major sinkhole right here. Law enforcement and traffic officers will remain on the ground as crews continue to make progress on this incident. DWP will also have personnel on the ground to assist with damage assessments and claims. People can also go to this website, ladwp.com/claims.
Yeah, and we imagine there will be quite a few files of, you know, complaints or people looking for reimbursement for property that's been damaged. We talked to a few residents who had underground garages, their cars completely submerged. You've been hearing from a lot of residents who say they're not going to be going to work. That lady we just heard from says she'll be working from home. So it's a developing situation. Hopefully it doesn't take as long as some of these residents are saying it could, but we'll, of course, stay on top of it for now. Live in West Hollywood. Back to you.
Nice job to you and Howard out there. We will check in with you, Mario.
A lot of work just beginning in that neighborhood. Thank you, Mario. All right, let's go over to Stu now. He's over some breaking news. There's a pursuit suspect, we're told, in the water, Stu?
That's right. We're keeping with that water theme this morning. There's no doubt about it. We're up right by Will Rogers Beach, and we are pretty good distance off the shore. I'll show you here in just a second. The two lifeguards, they're there to apprehend, save, get that suspect out of the water. Clearly the guy in the middle there with the blue shirt and no pants is the suspect. Started out as a foot pursuit as we understand it, and it was a warrant suspect. We're not going to miss anything, I promise you. They've been here for quite a few minutes. I'll give you an idea how far offshore this suspect is. Take a look at that. All that distance, and believe me, he swam that whole thing. That's the parking lot where the foot pursuit was and where that suspect got into the water. LAPD, they're still there. The lifeguards there as well. They've got a little staging area waiting to take that suspect into custody. Not sure exactly how the whole pursuit started, but it really doesn't make any difference. Right now, it is all about getting that guy out of the water safely. We do see he's definitely communicating. He's talking to the lifeguards. The lifeguards are there all kind of chatting it up down there. But right now, they're there to just kind of keep an eye on him. He's a pretty good swimmer. I have to admit that. The lifeguards, one of them is like they're just biding their time. Eventually, he's going to have to ask for help, and when that happens, they'll rescue him, take him into custody, and bring him to shore. But right now, what an interesting morning it is this Thursday here in Los Angeles. This one happening at the Will Rogers Beach. Sending it back to you all in the studio.
Unorthodox, to say the least.
Only in L.A.
Yeah, only in L.A., right? Listen, people have swam. People have swam to Alcatraz.
Does this person not have clothes?
But I'm wondering.
This person doesn't have clothes.
I think I saw something.
He has no pants.
He has no pants on.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, he has no pants on. Yeah, I was saying that just moments ago. I was like,
what?
Well,
maybe that's the reason why he doesn't want to be taken into custody.
And maybe that's also the reason the lifeguards are keeping somewhat of a distance there. How would you even begin to?
There you go.
Because wouldn't they have to pull him out of the water? There's boats nearby too. It can't be that hard.
Yes, there's boats. Well, that's the thing. Somebody usually needs to be rescued. That's the deal right there. So they're going to stay. They're going to stay nearby. Eventually, he's going to have to slow up or make the decision that he's going to be like, okay, this isn't going anywhere. Rescue me. But right now, the lifeguards are that close. So hopefully there will be no injuries. But they are definitely talking to him. I'm going to try. I don't want to push in too close right now. But when we were here earlier looking, they're definitely speaking. There's definitely a conversation between all three of those down there, and hopefully they're just kind of listening to this guy talk, but I'm sure they're interjecting every now and then, hey, just hold on to this life preserver. Let's bring you back over to the boat. Let's go into custody. How bad can this possibly be? But right now, that suspect is being stubborn and not wanting to go into custody. But this is quite a distance, and he's got to be a pretty good swimmer indeed to get that far offshore and to continue.
Right. What do we know what the pursuit was about? What the suspect was wanted for? And
criminal warrants. That was what the basic one is right now. But that could be a lot of things. And it was a foot pursuit, as I understand it, that became an aqua pursuit or a swimming pursuit.
The stamina,
and
on this person.
Yes, the stem.
He's like running his own mini decathlon.
Definitely.
You would think that the lifeguards would just throw some kind of a buoy or a lifeline and then haul him into the boats nearby. But maybe they're just trying to wait and seeing if he'll just acquiesce and say, hey, I'm ready to because these lifeguards just look like they're just chilling at this point.
Well, I suppose the good news, Stu, is that the guy is pantsless and he's in the water. So I guess the threat of having a weapon on him is neutralized.
Yes, I would venture to say no weapon indeed. But they have to get him into custody. They have to convince him that, how are you going to rescue somebody that doesn't want to be rescued? It is a difficult task indeed.
Right.
And, the lifeguards, they don't want to, they're worried about injury as well.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to rescue themselves or have somebody else come in there and rescue him if they start wrestling with that suspect. So it is definitely a wait-and-see type of situation, but that suspect's still keeping lifeguards at bay. And like you said, boats are close by. They have, and those boats are also manned. It isn't like the two lifeguards we see are the only people from the boat. There are people still on the boat.
Are these law enforcement boats?
As soon as
lifeguard boats.
LA County.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But that's a good question. Well, there you go, Sheriff's Department.
There we go. So we have one of each.
For sure. Yeah.
That's like I said. I'm surprised it is so. But maybe they're just, like you said, because if he's still resistant, then it could still be a danger to the lifeguards, to the sheriff's deputies there. So maybe they're just waiting for him to acquiesce and say, I'm tired.
He's got to get tired at some point.
And I want out. So, gosh, I think a lot of people are going to wonder, like, whatever happened to this. So hopefully they'll let you stay on top of this, and we'll see what happens from here on out.
Oh boy.
Could be a long waiting game because the guy appears to have a lot of stamina. All right, Stu, thank you. We will check in with you. We're talking about hot temperatures today, expecting to soar. Fire crews across Southern California are on the lookout for any sign of trouble.
Quick action by firefighters. In fact, yesterday saved a neighborhood in Santa Clarita. That's where we find Gigi Graciette. She's there live with that story. Gigi.
That's right, and there's another hot day in the forecast today, and that will be yet another challenge for firefighters out here in Santa Clarita. We're on Spirit Court. This is right off Center Point Parkway, and this is the area we believe the fire started yesterday. We're talking about the Point Fire. No active flames today, but I can tell you that on this hillside and on the backside where the fire burnt, there are over 1,000 hot spots still noted, and the concern those could flare up, and that's why LA County Fire is still staged throughout this neighborhood. Now let's show you what the fire did. As of last night, it was mapped at over 52 acres with about 32% containment, but you can see how dangerously close it came to people's homes. Now off of Center Point Parkway, it's a mixed-use area. It's mainly industrial. There's also the high school, but you do have pockets of residents, and that's where the concern was. At about 1:40 yesterday, not everybody was home. Many people were at work when they got word the fire was burning right behind their homes. They rushed in to try to save their pets and get anything they could as evacuation warnings were issued.
I was headed to Costco, and I was like, that's close to our house. Let's go drive by really fast. And I pulled in, and the flames were right here in this parking lot.
Yeah.
So I grabbed my kids that didn't even know the sheriffs were telling them to leave. And my dogs. They said they did not hear it, the sheriff's sirens going off. And I grabbed the dogs, and I told them to go to Walmart, and I went to my neighbor's house and grabbed her dogs and met everybody at Walmart.
I mean, like I said, we were coming back from LA when I started getting the dings and seeing, I go, oh my gosh, I told my husband, this is our house. And one of my neighbors called me, so we spoke, and she goes, you know what, let's pray. So we just started praying over the community. We just feel so blessed and honored that it didn't come to us. This is everything we own.
And the parking lot at the nearby Walmart became the staging area for all of those neighbors. Again, you can see how close the fire came to their homes. Los Angeles County Fire, though, putting everything they had on this fire, able to contain it to just over 50 acres, 32% containment, and bringing it back here live. Again, we're on Spirit Court right off of Center Point Parkway. You can see LA County Fire staged. If you live in this area, you're probably going to see fire trucks, engines still staged in your neighborhood. They're keeping a close eye on the hillside. In Santa Clarita, Gigi Graciette.
All right, Gigi, thank you.
It's been a busy morning.
What hasn't happened?
Fire, we've got water.
I'm knocking on wood right now because we don't need anything more to to happen out there.
And today is another hot day.
Today is another hot day indeed. We're watching that area, of course, that point fire near Santa Clarita, and the wind is always an issue. We always talk about the wind and how it is a major part of how firefighters fight these fires. And the good news is, much like yesterday, actually, the winds were not as bad. Right now, the winds are mostly calm to 3 miles per hour. These are some of the wind gusts that we're picking up in and around Santa Clarita, Castaic Junction there at Rancho Santa Clarita. As we get to the afternoon, however, this futurecast will show you how the winds will pick up in strength as it typically does in the afternoon. But this area in particular will get some of those wind gusts nearing 20 to 30 miles per hour. So as they continue to fight that fire, hopefully we'll get an even better handle as they get on with the afternoon. Temperatures are not helping firefighters. It is going to be another hot day. Last day, I think, of this dangerous heat wave. We did have some extremely hot temperatures yesterday, and those heat warnings are still in effect through tonight. That's the good news. I do think that things will start to really cool down as we get into tomorrow. But today's temperature still mainly in the 90s and low 100s. The bigger cool down expected Friday into the upcoming weekend, but we're still going to tap into a little bit of humidity, so we're still going to feel that muggy condition. Here are the weather alerts in place. We've got extreme heat warnings that are still in effect and red flag warnings for elevated fire danger due to some of those winds that are going to be gusty later this afternoon. Those temperatures still getting well into the triple digits. Even along the coast, we're seeing those warm temperatures, so that's where that heat advisory is also still in effect for the potential for heat-related illnesses. Yesterday, we got up to 102 in Ontario. It was 94 in downtown LA. Not the record, did not beat the old record. However, it is the warmest temperature we have seen in downtown LA all summer. So yes, it was hot yesterday. Right now it is 79, so it is already heating up nicely. 80 in Pasadena, it's 92 in Palm Springs. High temperatures today will be well above average still, so please be mindful of the heat and take the necessary precautions to stay heat safe. We're still looking at 80s up in the mountains with that chance for some thunderstorms. There's still that instability rotating around this area of high pressure. We're going to cool it down, like I said. I'll show you those numbers and the relief that's on the way coming up in just a few minutes. In the meantime, stay with us. We are going to be right back after this quick break as we look at a live view of Catalina and Two Harbors there. Beautiful.
Good day.
Welcome back. You know, it's not just us. It's not just women. More men are heading to the plastic surgeon's office now looking for subtle, athletic-looking results.
I think subtle is key.
Subtle is everything.
From defining abs and chest muscles to tightening loose skin, doctors say men are choosing body contouring procedures that focus on looking fit rather than overdone. The International Society of Aesthetic Plastic Surgery is tracking the rise and says surgical procedures in men are up 95% globally since 2018. Joining us to talk about this, Dr. Charles Galanis from right here locally in Beverly Hills, right?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
So you're saying 15% of your clientele now is men?
Yeah, and it's certainly changing. I think that the women dominated the field for many decades, but over the last 10 years, we've seen almost 100% change, literally, in the number of patients seeking plastic surgery who are men. So the number is changing dramatically.
95% globally since 2018. Why now? Why so many?
I think there's a few factors. I think really three things. I think as it applies to both men and women, the wellness industry has just exploded. I mean, everyone is talking about wellness. Everyone is talking about
the peptides
and hormone replacement therapy and all these things. And I think with that comes the desire to look in a way that reflects that wellness. And so that you're seeing that in both men and women. We talked about this earlier, that I see a lot of couples, too, who come in, and it's almost as if women are coming in as the guinea pig, and then their spouse is like, okay, well, maybe I'm ready to do this. So I operate in a lot of couples, either at the same time or it's the woman that goes first and the man that goes second.
I also said subtle, because I think for men also, men are like concerned that they're going to look crazy. That's going to, and I think the procedures and the treatments have gotten so much better over the years that now you can actually look refreshed and more contoured and not look like a lot has been done to you.
Yeah, and that's the trend we're seeing across all of plastic surgery. Is the aesthetic that was exaggerated from years ago is sort of passé. That's not what people are looking for.
Like the filler,
right? Where you can spot it from a mile away when they walk in. Now people are looking to look refreshed, look like themselves, but just have a little bit more of a toned appearance to their appearance.
Okay, so but for men, where's the focus? Where does it seem to be?
So the three areas for men that we see the most common, one is gynecomastia, which is the not so flattering term man boobs that people use, where they have the larger breasts or chest. That's one area. The flanks or the torso is just a big area. So men who are looking to define their abdomen, kind of slim down that flank or sort of muffin top area.
Like the V'd out, right? Yeah.
And I think men are still interested in neck lipo. So those in terms of body consideration.
Neck lipo?
So, you know, when they have a little bit of extra fat underneath the chin, they want to sort of sharpen that jawline. So those are areas that we're seeing, you know, continue to grow with men.
And okay, so I'm interested. But the not.
Get out your
let's get started. Let me get my consult sheet. Let's get to go.
But these are mostly non-invasive procedures. So you're talking about, because you brought some of these tools here. In order to do, let's say, the midsection area, are you going to have to use these tools and get in there with like a lipo thing?
So I think the first thing we have to talk about is what does non-invasive mean? And so you have to think about sort of least to most invasive. The non-invasive things really is when you go into a med spa, they slap a pad on, turn on a machine, and we'll see what happens. When you start to go into the skin or do something percutaneous, like you take a device like this here, which is the Renuvion device by Apex. This is a device that goes underneath the skin, uses radio frequency energy to change the collagen and tighten up the tissue. So is it non-invasive? Well, no, not necessarily, but it's not as invasive as big surgeries where we're using a scalpel and cutting skin out.
Is that local anesthetic, or would that be you're fully under?
It can be done under local anesthetic. Frequently, it's under general anesthesia because you're doing it in combination with like a liposuction procedure where we use something like an ultrasound probe like this, which goes underneath the skin, and follow that right by liposuction, which is this is the kind of cannula that we use to remove fat from the body. So they're non-invasive in the sense that we're not doing a big operation with a big incision, but they're still surgery. It's still surgery, frequently under general anesthesia.
So what's the downtime for something like that?
It's going to be reflective of how many areas you're treating and how extensive of work we're doing, how many liters of fat we're taking out, so on and so forth. But the downtime can be as little as a few days to a week or 2 weeks max.
Okay. You've seen some male celebrities, and you can tell if they've gotten work done. Some are better than others. What would you suggest from a plastic surgeon standpoint when you're talking about work that's being done on a man's face specifically?
So I think that you know, whether you're talking about face or body, the idea with plastic surgery is not to change your identity. You know, your face ID on your phone should still
Isn't
work.
like Face Off with Nicolas Cage, right?
In other words, so what you're trying to do frequently, what we will talk about is we want to look at you at whatever age you're at and see if we can get you to 10 years ago, but it was you. You know, bring in a picture from before and say, oh yeah, that's that's what I looked like
The
10
face
years
still
ago.
moves the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're looking in plastic surgery now, is not creating these unnatural aesthetics. You just refreshed. You just a younger version of you. And not focusing so much on what you look like, but more on how you feel and your confidence.
I think it's, personally, I mean, if your face starts to get feminized a little bit through these surgeries, and I think that goes a little too far.
That's with the filler, though, right? That comes with filler and maybe in the wrong places.
Well, I think, you know, I'm in Beverly Hills, and if you walked around Beverly Hills 10 years ago, that's all you would see. But I think if you walk around there now, you'll notice it's not quite the same. I think the use of filler, the way they're being used, how extensively they're being used, has become a little bit more judicious, a little bit more conservative. I think people have come around to the realities of, hey, we don't want to look like someone entirely bizarre. We want to look like ourselves. And I think people are wisening up to the long-term consequence of disrupting your anatomy too much with things like filler or surgery.
I guess it just doesn't hurt to ask, right? You go in, you figure out what's best for you, how far you can go.
Listen, I tell all my patients, a consultation, I'm not trying to sell you anything. It's an informational session. That's all it is. And I have people coming in and say, listen, if you come here and you say, hey, I'm fine, then you're fine. There's nothing to do. I said, if there's something that you want to address, let me talk you through what options exist, what the downtime is, what the risks are, and we go from there.
Is that tool on right now?
Let's hook it up. Let's hook it up. I'm going to need some power, I think, somewhere.
Is that the time?
Do you take walk-ins asking for a friend?
There's a reason they told me to bring these. Are you the reason they told me to bring these?
That's right. Dr. Galanis, thank you.
I might be getting there, Dr. Galanis.
Well, thanks
and for more info, visit GalanisPlasticSurgery.com. One more live look there at the aftermath of this major water main break in West Hollywood. We continue our coverage after the break.
Leave these here with you.
Good.
And welcome to the 9 o'clock hour. We begin to follow breaking news this morning. A water main break, a flood, West Hollywood neighborhood right there. You've seen these unbelievable images.
Yeah, throughout the morning, we've been on top of this. Streets have turned into rivers, flooded apartment complexes. The extent of the damage still not entirely clear. It's going to take a while to figure that part out. But let's bring in Mario now with the very latest on the situation where you are. And we're looking at an image there. That was the bus depot, which is quite an unbelievable sight as well, Mario. Look at that behind you.
Yeah, it's incredible to see the amount of damage from what we can tell so far. This massive sinkhole here behind me at the corner of Sunset and Holloway Drive. And nearby, there's a LADWP command post. We have dozens of workers out here, and they're just taking a look at what they're going to be doing and their plan. So the force of the water was so powerful, it ripped up part of the roadway here, creating that sinkhole near the Sunset Strip. And just take a look. We want to show you video here when this was really raging. The break first reported just after 3 o'clock this morning, again here along Holloway Drive at Sunset. And officials say water from the broken main surged through the neighborhood for 4 hours before crews were able to stop that flow around 7 o'clock. And as daylight broke, residents came out from their homes, finding the street covered here in water and debris, some wading through the floodwaters to check on their property, while others attempted to drive through the water as crews were working to secure the scene. And we've been out here for all of it. The force of that water is so strong, it actually buckled the pavement in some locations, and that's what caused this sinkhole. Now, LADWP says the pipe that failed is a 36-inch water trunk line that was installed in 1916, making it more than a century old. And we heard from Mayor Karen Bass visiting the scene here this morning, saying this underscores the challenges of maintaining infrastructure that has been in service for more than 100 years. Take a listen to what she had to say.
The last couple of years developing a comprehensive infrastructure plan, of which we rolled out about 2 months ago. One of the first steps for our city to have a plan, we had to change different aspects of the city charter. Those parts of the city charter that needed to be changed passed city council in their last session and will be on the ballot in November. Up until now, the city's infrastructure was handled on a 15 council person basis. And so it is very difficult to repair the infrastructure that impacts the entire city, and clearly 2 cities, West Hollywood and Los Angeles, without a citywide plan.
And as those floodwaters have been raging overnight, the aftermath still very present. Several streets remain closed as crews continue repairs. Officials urging drivers to avoid the area until the damage can be assessed and the roadways are safe to reopen. And we don't know exactly how long that'll take. Now, despite the size of the break, officials say water service remained available for the vast majority of customers. They said only 1 customer reported to have lost water service, possibly 2. But we heard from so many this morning who said that just wasn't the case. They didn't have water, and it seems like more and more are starting to get their service restored. Now, coming back out here live, again, the intersection of Sunset and Holloway, you can see all of those LADWP crews gathering there. No injuries reported, and crews are now focusing on the repairs, the damage assessment, getting the floodwaters, the standing water out of that sinkhole. And I will say, throughout the morning, we've also been hearing from some of the nearby residents who've been walking back and forth here, seeing the businesses completely shut down, the restaurant here, Dialogue Cafe that should have opened at 7 o'clock this morning, the Coffee Bean that I believe still doesn't have water, is what one woman said here passing by a short time ago. So this is definitely impacting a large chunk here of West Hollywood along the iconic Sunset Strip. Live here, we'll send it back to you.
And what a mess. I mean, it's a ripple effect, obviously. You see how that plays out. But I'm wondering, you know, this happened 6 hours or so ago, right? Was there any kind of sign? I know most people are asleep, so they probably didn't know the water pressure perhaps wasn't performing per usual, and that could have been a sign. Were there any signs, though, that could have prevented this from it becoming what it became?
Well, whether or not it could have been prevented, no, that's not clear. That's something that LADWP crews will have to answer. But we can say that we talked to one resident around 10 o'clock last night. She says she noticed that the water pressure was lower than normal. So she said that was the first, sign that she had that something was going on. She didn't know what it was. She went to sleep, woke up, and there was all of this mess. And we talked to some of the residents this morning who called 911. They said that they had just been either on their way home. One man said he was coming from Barney's Beanery. He saw that gushing water from the pavement here that had buckled, and he called 911. They said, all right, hang tight, just stay near the area, and fire crews will be there shortly. So from what we know, there were no signs, no clear signs that this would be happening, but residents calling 911 as soon as they saw it happen here early this morning.
Okay, thank you so much, Mario. We actually are going up to Stu and Sky Fox.
This is over Will Rogers Beach, what you're seeing right here. Lifeguards tackling a pursuit suspect. Stu, what do we know so far? This is something we've been monitoring for 20 minutes, this guy in the water, treading water next to those lifeguards, but now something's happening.
Yeah, definitely. The situation changed dramatically here just moments ago. This is a pursuit suspect, started on the ground, foot pursuit. Law enforcement chased him into the water. He was been swimming here for quite some time. Lifeguards and a sheriff's boat very, very close by. The issue was that the two lifeguards that were with him over there by the water, and we actually saw it happen, you can't just take this guy into custody without putting yourself in extreme danger. You guys are in the water. These are lifeguards. They are trained to take people, to save lives, not to force somebody to get onto to be saved. So there was some conversation. I'm thinking maybe the suspect wanted to get a hold of the surfboard that these guys lay on, the board that they use for their rescues, to relax a little bit, or maybe to catch their breath. This has been going on for quite some time, and at that point there was a lot of no, you can't, and then the suspect put himself under the water. As second that head went under the water, one of the lifeguards dived in immediately, grabbed that suspect, and was trying to hold him try to do the rescue, and then that suspect pushed him under. That's when the second and the third lifeguards made contact. There you go. That's the sheriff's boat that's been there. I'm going to have to get a little bit wider because he is not wearing any pants. But it was dramatic, to say the least. It was a couple of moments. Even I was, holding my breath because it was a bit of a panic situation, especially when that suspect pulled the lifeguard under. But right now, that suspect going into custody as he should. Lifeguard is okay. And again, what an amazing job these guys did. I'm going to, not because the guy is naked from the waist down, they basically have made their way closer to the beach, but they were so far out in the water at one point. But now that suspect definitely in custody.
Oh my gosh. About 20 minutes ago, when you first brought us this story, Stu, the suspect was about half a mile out from shore, really made a distance.
Yes.
There, swimming offshore, trying to evade police, obviously. What was the initial want you were mentioning? He was wanted for a criminal warrant?
Criminal warrants, that's the best we could get, and that could mean a lot of different things. Still a little bit of a struggle down there to get that suspect into custody, but two of the lifeguards going back right now to go get their rescue boards. You can see him right there. The one that swam in is staying there, and the sheriff's, the deputy that was on board that sheriff's boat, definitely going to be the one that takes that guy into custody. But dramatic moments there at the end, and we see a lot, but I've never seen a suspect do that for so long. And the lifeguards, amazing job, just being so calm, doing what they needed to do to get that guy to basically where he is now. There's still a little bit of a struggle down there, and I'm sure that that deputy, his instructions and his abilities are probably a little bit more on that. We're going to put the cuffs on you and make sure that you are secure on the boat before we go in. But definitely not in custody as of yet, but definitely on that sheriff's boat.
What a turn of events. All right, Stu, thank you for staying on top of that.
One of those bizarre stories, right? Okay, we're going to go back now talking about that water main break in West Hollywood. It's become such a mess. Brooke out there as well on the scene this morning. Brooke.
Hey there, yeah, I guess we can almost stop identifying this as a water main break and just start calling it the sinkhole, right? Because that's the biggest issue now. They've dealt with the water flow, and now they're dealing with this, just a massive, obviously dangerous sinkhole right here in the middle of Sunset and Hollywood, right there at the intersection. And earlier this morning, we heard from Mayor Karen Bass, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. We heard from the mayor of West Hollywood, also representatives from the water department, representatives, of course, also multiple representatives, I should say, from LADWP. And they say this is their biggest issue right now. There is no estimate on when they can even get in there and assess how long it would take to fix this. They say they have to get in there and pump all of the water out, and that's what they're working on right now. And once they do that, only then will they be able to get an idea of how long it's going to take to repair. That's the biggest issue right now, and they want people to avoid this area. They said avoid Sunset in West Hollywood. And of course, people at home or people at work who aren't at home are worried. They're wondering whether they will have water when they get back home. The answer, according to the officials we heard from today, is yes. They essentially said you were never affected by what caused the water flow. Listen to this.
Everybody should have water. Once again, the pipe that's feeding the customers is the 8-inch water main. That 8-inch water main has remained in service this entire time, pressurized and full of water, so the customer should have no concerns about the quality or the quantity of the water being provided.
Luckily, at this time, we don't have services that are out, so everybody does have clean water that's safe to drink. It's mainly the impact to the transit and the morning commute down Sunset Boulevard.
So, listen, if you are having any sort of issue, they want you to go to ladwp.com/claims. And I just have to tell you, even for me getting here and being able to have, a little looser permissions or restrictions, I should say, when it comes to a civilian, unfortunately, trying to get to work, trying to get to wherever they need to go, it was hard for me to get here. I had to park far away from Sunset and then walk to this location because the barriers go back farther than you'd guess. So be careful, keep that in mind, and if you can, avoid Sunset. Back to you.
Oh, what a mess.
4, 10, 14, 16, 20, the 134, 602, and the 627. You want to make sure you plan ahead. Can't emphasize this enough. Avoid the area until further notice. This is going to be a long duration closure. Authorities are recommending residents to stay indoors due to the possibility of additional unstable buckling streets and roads, widespread commute impacts, but the crews are assessing damage. And a reminder, if you have been impacted, to visit ladwp.com/claims. Here's a look at some other traffic hotspots.
This broadcast is locally sponsored by DT LA Law Group, Auto Accident and Injury Attorneys. Have an injury? Text Injury Help to 40222 or visit us online at calldowntown.com. Message and data rates and usage may apply.
Good Day LA Traffic is brought to you by DTLA Law Group, Accident and Injury Attorneys.
Ta-da! Not what I was expecting. IKEA. IKEA.
Pick up at your local store or choose from thousands of pickup locations at IKEA.us. All at a great price. IKEA. Dream the possibilities.
Mid-City, but lives in Sherman Oaks. And every day, it's bumper to bumper. 15 miles, from the 405 to the 10. But what Molly doesn't know is a crash is going to derail her drive by 45 minutes. Had she watched Good Day LA on Fox Local LA, she would have known. And she wouldn't be here. Stuck. Don't be like Molly. Watch free live news on Fox Local and be in the know. Your anxiety will thank you.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Wow, yes. Show me. Oh, magic. That's magic. I'm magic. Entertainment is sponsored by Yamava Resort and Casino. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's nice to be out here.
What's going on here?
Well, I'm going to tell you, happy Odyssey week to all who celebrate. I celebrate. Clap your hands if you're excited to see the Odyssey. Sure. Okay, everyone. Well, to accompany the Odyssey IMAX camera popcorn bucket is back. This is on loan from my husband. The same large format camera technology used to capture Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And now it had sold out. Now it's back for the week of the release. You can get it at AMC, Harkins Theaters, and Regal. It was originally on sale at IMAX's official website. But now
they're selling them again. It sold out twice online before theaters got their hands on them.
Really? Wow.
People were even trying to resell them online. But look, I want to show it to you.
How much is one of those?
Okay, so originally $50. You know my husband collects these.
Right.
He has about 10 of them.
It goes up in value.
Yeah, right? It's an investment, I'd like to say. But this is the IMAX camera.
Okay. Because they were selling them online for much more than that.
Yeah. You should have seen the way he loaded it into my car.
So delicately. In bubble wrap.
But I want to show you this, too. This is very cool.
Ooh.
Like your own little viewfinder that comes with the popcorn bucket.
That is cool. And you attach it, obviously.
Very nice.
To the side.
Oh, yes.
You can see the movie in here.
I just know only because I saw the picture.
Yes, the viewfinder. There we go. Very cool. Obviously, you got to see the movie in IMAX. That's where I saw the movie.
Obviously.
I'm going to have my review coming up in the 11 a.m. hour for The Odyssey. Thank you to my leading ladies over here. Now, speaking of The Odyssey, there are film fans, there are film fanatics, and ladies, there are those who take it to a whole new level. So a Christopher Nolan super fan named Amber Conahan, she actually recently did an interview with Variety where she, I'm not even kidding you when I say this, delayed getting pregnant with her second child because she wanted to see The Odyssey in the theater.
Wait, how do you
Her friend had said to her, okay, time to have your second child. And she says, oh no, that if I get pregnant now, that's too close to when The Odyssey will be released.
9 months later, you mean?
Yes, and she wanted to see The Odyssey in theaters.
Why couldn't you still see it?
That you can't really plan sometimes.
Well, she was saying it would be hard to get a babysitter for a newborn.
Whoa, that's like
to be home.
wild.
So she actually is delaying having her second child so that she can see The Odyssey in theaters. What kind of fan is that?
Wow. That's dedication.
Playing with science and nature.
My joke is she chose 70 millimeter over 10 centimeter.
Oh.
Dun-dun-dun.
Where's my dun-dun? Get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Waka, waka, waka. All right, bye. See you later.
Wait, don't forget the packaging.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this. The World Cup final is set, and Argentina will play Spain on Sunday for the title. Argentina will try to become the first team to win back-to-back World Cups since Brazil in 1962. So here's how Argentina got there yesterday. After a scoreless first half, England makes a beauty of a play with Morgan Rogers sending it into the box. Anthony Gordon does the rest with a clean finish. It was a beauty. He scores his first goal of the World Cup, and England's up 1-0. Then the coach decides to go defensive early on after that, parking the bus, trying to hold on to that advantage while Argentina does their thing. They just go on the attack. And then in the 85th minute, Argentina, desperate for the equalizer, gotta give it to him. Lionel Messi draws two defenders, leaving Enzo Fernandez wide open to receive and fires off a bullet for the equalizer. Then in stoppage time, Alexis McAllister takes a shot, hits it off the post. Messi gets control of the ball, sends it into Martinez, and he scores with that header right there. Argentina goes on to win 2-1, and they advance to play Spain.
Of the team, and then you got an unbelievable victory against England. Yes, incredible. What the group has been doing is incredible, and this is, of course, again, something that shows our character, our grit, our collective, the way that we play together, our strength, the patient game. It was really, truly amazing. We've been saying it all throughout this competition, and then now we're at a final again.
Again, they did it, and you can see all the action, of course, this Sunday only on Fox 11. Our coverage begins at 8 o'clock in the morning with a 4-hour pregame show. You don't want to miss that. And the match is, of course, at noon, taking place at the New York, New Jersey Stadium.
Well, it's going to be a big one.
Yep. And if you want, you can watch Saturday for the consolation game. That's France versus England. If you like Mbappe, maybe he'll get some minutes. Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham.
I didn't even realize that.
The third place.
Oh, that's right.
What do they get?
I think they get money too, don't they?
They do get some money.
Yeah, I think so.
And they get to nurse their heartache.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know this either, Sandra. I know you knew, but I was thinking, oh, we actually get 2 more games to watch.
That's right.
This weekend.
It's going to be a big weekend.
Yeah, we won't be all cold turkey right away. You know, we still have 2 more.
Wean me off the World Cup.
Slowly weaning us off.
Slowly.
All right, good morning to you. It is a hot one already outside. This weather is sponsored by Pachanga Resort Casinos. Beautiful beautiful view of Santa Monica, but it is hot out there. We've got an area of high pressure that is still in control. It's a little weaker, a little bit farther to the east. However, we're still going to look for some of those hot conditions. Dangerous temperatures still will persist today. Not quite as hot as yesterday, but you still want to be mindful of this heat. A little humidity and instability, chance for some showers. We've got the extreme heat warnings that are still in effect for the high risk for heat-related illnesses, even along the coast. That heat advisory is still in effect as well through tonight. 92 expected for downtown LA, so down a couple of degrees from yesterday, and then we will really notice tomorrow into the weekend we'll be back down to the 80s, closer to average. However, with a little humidity, it will still be a little uncomfortable and hotter than what the thermometer reads. But it's better. 103 in the valleys today, down to 93 tomorrow. And out towards the mountains, we still have a chance for some of those isolated thunderstorms, 83 there. Back down to even 79 on Monday. And as we get to the high desert, 102 degrees, down to the 90s starting tomorrow. And of course, the Coachella Valley, hotter with 109 there, expected later this afternoon. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Good day.
.30 right now. We continue to follow breaking news this morning. A major water main break in West Hollywood flooded blocks of the city and left behind serious damage to the streets, sidewalk, and properties.
Unbelievable, right? Look at all these images. Streets turning into rivers. You got flooded apartment complexes, collapsed streets, sidewalks, all of those cars damaged. So frustrating. Let's bring in Mario right now. He's been all over this story for hours this morning, and he'll fill us in on what the very latest is. Good morning.
Yeah, a lot of the businesses here, over a dozen closed around this intersection at Sunset and Holloway Drive. We can tell you that crews right now, LADWP on the scene, they are still pumping out that water here out of that massive sinkhole you see there. And this was first reported just after 3 o'clock this morning here along Sunset. Officials say water continued pouring into the area, and two crews were able to shut the flow around 7 a.m., so almost 4 hours. Now take a look. We've got video here showing the fast-moving water rushing south down Palm Avenue, flooding parked cars, apartment garages, and streets all the way towards Santa Monica Boulevard. Residents waking up to the damage, some wading through the water to check their homes, others trying to drive through the flooded streets, maybe on their way to work early this morning. Now, the flooding also forced several road closures, and authorities asking people to stay away from the area while crews continue their work out here. And there were no injuries or evacuations, but we did hear from West Hollywood's mayor as well as LA Mayor Karen Bass, who oversees LADWP. She talked about some of the resources for these impacted residents who might need it this morning.
You see there is a major sinkhole right here. Law enforcement and traffic officers will remain on the ground as crews continue to make progress on this incident. DWP will also have personnel on the ground to assist with damage assessments and claims. People can also go to this website, ladwp.com/claims.
Now, DWP, they say that the break happened in a 36-inch water trunk line that was installed in 1916. Crews had to slowly shut down valves to relieve pressure and prevent even more damage to the water system. And when we heard from Mayor Bass, she says this incident really highlights the challenge of aging infrastructure, noting that the pipe here is more than a century old. Now, if we come back out here live, another look at the active pumping here from that sinkhole. We don't know how long this will take to reopen the street here, to repair the road. Sunset between Larrabee and Holloway Drive is shut down, and officials during that press conference said that water service was still available to a vast majority of customers, and we've been hearing throughout the morning many didn't have any water at all, or their pressure was very low, but it does seem like more and more are starting to get their service back. For now, live in West Hollywood, I'm Mario Ramirez. Back to you.
And Mario, it took hours before they could actually shut it off, and I know the process is very complex. They had to turn it about 100 to 1,000 times to turn off the valve, but even the valve, they didn't know who it belonged to, right?
Yeah, that's right. We were out here early this morning, and you may have caught the interview we had with the public information officer. He, at one point, said that Beverly Hills, one of the water agencies from Beverly Hills, was out here, as well as LADWP. And I saw someone talk to a gentleman from Metropolitan Water, and he said they were still trying to figure out if this was their pipe. So at one point, we had 3 different agencies out here during the height of all of this, trying to figure out which intersecting pipeline the agency responsible for it. And these are aging pipes that we know they've been replacing throughout the city every year, but they've got so many that are just getting weaker and weaker.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear them say, it's not like a master switch. You can just shut it off. They really had to figure out who it belonged to begin with. And yes, the aging infrastructure, I have to tell you, at first I thought you said 1960, but it's 1916. So that really gives you a sense of just how old all of this is. And this also complicates matters.
Exactly, and we've covered so many water main breaks that this, I have to say, the 11 plus years that I've been here, this is the worst that I've seen. And we heard during that press conference, the city has 7,500 miles of pipes that the LADWP is responsible for, and they replace 45 miles of those pipes each year. They called it an aggressive replacement program throughout the city, but clearly that's a small portion of the 7,500 miles that they've got across the city, and we keep seeing these water main breaks constantly. If you watch Good Day LA, you see, we're on one almost every week.
That's true. Yeah, it's not uncommon to have them, but to this degree, this magnitude, that was certainly unusual. All right, Mario, thank you.
And the area is going to be impacted for quite some time. Brooke is on the scene in West Hollywood, where there's a massive sinkhole only getting bigger. Right, Brooke?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's been the biggest issue. Of course, as I'm here with Aaron Caton with the fire department, and it's hard to say this is the biggest issue right now if you're one of the people who are dealing with water still flooding your garage, because of course, immediately that's your biggest issue. Can you talk to me about what you all are doing now, where things stand?
Well, right now, just like you touched on, everybody, the issue touching people most is what their biggest issue is.
Right.
And now, fortunately, we got that water leak shut off, which was everyone's biggest issue. But now the next phase is to go on with damage assessment and addressing what we find. So as the fire department, we have our personnel operating in two groups, one focused on search, the other on dewatering. So to go and assess damage, find anything that needs to be addressed, and the other to get right at it, getting water out of garages and other underground spaces that took a lot on during the incident.
And focusing here on Sunset and Holloway, I know before you could even assess this damage here, you had to get that water pumped out of there. And you said a lot of water came out of this hole.
Yeah, there was a whole lot of water that came out. It was a large main. I think DWP said it was a 32-inch main, and that thing moves a whole lot of water. So the amount that came out was significant. DWP is going to get us numbers. They have the ability to calculate. They haven't been able to do it quite yet because they have a lot going on, but we'll have numbers on that, exactly how many gallons came out later on today.
And a large part of Sunset right now is shut down. Obviously, even if you can't see it, it's for your safety, but can you talk a little bit about that? You all want people to stay away from Sunset.
Yeah, absolutely. This section of Sunset is closed. It's going to be closed for a while. You've seen, even if you're not here, you've seen on the video the size of this hole. There's a lot of work to be done. DWP has to repair that main, and then Public Works is going to come out, repair the street. And in the meantime, our personnel are working in the area. So if you have any ability to avoid this area, please do so.
Is it getting bigger? It's a massive hole.
It is a really big hole. I haven't been keeping track of it in terms of exactly how large it is. But yeah, I mean, it's significant. Until they get all the water out of there and get it stabilized, then it is still an active part of the incident.
Okay, so biggest thing right now, obviously you guys are handling immediate concerns when it comes to private residents dealing with water in their garages. You're dealing with this and you want people to stay out of it. Yeah.
Right, that's exactly it. At Los Angeles County Fire Department, West Hollywood is one of the cities we serve. We take a lot of pride in serving it, and we are here for the residents. And actively right now, we are engaged in that mission of support to the residents to get this area restored to the level they expect.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And, you know, earlier this morning, we also we heard from, I should say, the mayor of West Hollywood. And I thought it was interesting just how they were prepared for the worst. They were so prepared for things they didn't even have to get to. Listen to this.
All of our residents, to our knowledge, are safe. There was some street flooding this morning, some sub-garages that were flooded, but that seems to be abating. What we really need from people is to avoid this area on Sunset. Sunset is closed. There are major traffic disruptions in the area. We will continue to notify people of those traffic disruptions and alternative routes.
I thought it was interesting earlier this morning that Mayor of West Hollywood actually said they even had an evacuation center set up just in case residents had to evacuate. Obviously, that didn't happen, and they don't expect for any reason that to be used. But they really were here overnight for hours and still are, you know, preparing for any possible issue that could come of this. And right now, this is the biggest concern for the larger community. I'm at Sunset and Holloway, and, you know, there's a massive hole in the road and no word on when traffic will be clear through here, but I can tell you not anytime soon. Back to you.
Weeks before commerce is back up and running again, residents can get back into their homes freely without taking detours. So it is such a mess and congested area for this to happen, Brooke.
And then to fix the streets.
Right. No. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because when we were watching this morning at 5 a.m., you know, I was in studio. We were watching Mario out there in a really popular restaurant, Dialogue Cafe. I'm sure you've all been. We were wondering because the beginning of the water seemed right there in front of that. And so I've been just like checking restaurants and looking at their social medias and what they think, because obviously they are talking directly to city officials as well. And the reps at Dialogue Cafe, obviously they're upset. They're not open today, and they don't know when they will be able to open. So that's also what many people are dealing with, and you can just kind of go to their Instagram pages and see the answer that many of these businesses have is we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is a domino effect. It really is. And then you think of all the people there who live in that area, and let's say their car was in a parking structure. Now they don't have a vehicle to get to work. So, I mean, it's just that ripple effect is evident.
everything. Like, remember, like the bus depot, you're wondering how that affects people who depend on those to get to work, to get their kids where they need to go. You also, even if your car was parked on the street, we saw that on video from Skyfox, the water, just the force of the water pushing cars, your car might end up in a different location, let alone the type of water damage that it could have suffered. And again, people still dealing with water in underground garages. And we've seen before just the type of damage that can do. It's just a horrible thing for people to wake up to. Horrible.
Yeah, it is. It is. You just feel helpless, and, you know, now you have to figure out what to do in the aftermath of it all. All right, Brooke, thank you so much. Appreciate you being there. Let's go up to Stu up in Skyfox, and he'll give us the vantage point he has from up above, and you really get a sense of what happened here, right?
Oh, definitely. And Brooke doing an amazing job down there, and Mario as well. Brooke over here, so their shot's going to be basically of this, what's going on. Those crews from the Department of Water and Power, well, now they're trying to drain that hole. They've got 2 pumps in there, but believe me, the way that water's moving, it wasn't like it was moving this morning at all. Let's kind of do a path of destruction, as it would be, and not in a light way at all. That's the intersection where that water main broke earlier this morning. Holloway, that's is the street that we see right there, still closed in both directions for a large portion of that roadway. And of course, that's Dialogue Restaurant. Now, the first thing that we come across is this massive sinkhole out here where the sidewalk is collapsed, and it exposes so much of the infrastructure that, you know, we aren't talking about. Electric, wiring, gas lines, possibly even cable lines. Look at this giant access hole right there. Thank goodness nobody was walking in the water when that was there, because that could have created a drowning situation. We see sidewalk lifted up as we make our way south on Palm. As we make our way down, you get here. This was the parking garage that we saw so much of. And this section right here, where all that water was pouring down earlier on this morning, it was just like, it literally looked like a giant waterfall. Now, the fire department, yes, they are definitely still here on scene, and they are going to stay, and they're going to be checking preliminarily all these structures, especially in these parking garages, making sure that the foundations are safe. This appears to be some sort of plumber or maybe the maintenance for the building, and they are also working to start pumping the water that did not get out of that garage, but it's kind of repeats itself all the way down the street. Another one of those access panels lifted up by the water, exposing a giant hole. We have more damage as we make our way down the street. Is this the one? One of them, a retaining wall collapsed in front of the parking garage, basically holding up the side where they go down into the garage, and the debris still just laying there on the in the street. But it is so much damage as you make your way down that street. We did see the police department, or actually the parking police in the area, wondering if they were going to set up something like a no drive area. But as far as repairs go, there you go. That's Edison. So maybe there was a little bit of a power outage out here as well, because they're on scene also. Fire department, hopefully everybody's going to be okay. I'm not sure if that's a medical call, but Santa Monica Boulevard, that's the one everybody's asking about, and that bus depot. All that sediment, all that dirt that was flowing in that water, this is where it kind of deposited itself. This portion right here, you might be like, that's not so bad. Just wait. It becomes almost like a dirt road out here, and it's not just a light dusting. This is thick mud that's down here. You can see the actual, the curb and all that mud that is standing next to it. A lot of that water and mud made its way into that bus depot. We were watching that, and look at that. All that was underwater at one point. Now it is just kind of dirt, and with these high temperatures, it's going to dry very quickly. Don't know if that's a plus or a minus, but it's going to be something where cleanup is going to take a while. I just saw this. I'm wondering what this is. Oh, that's a forklift. But here there are crews, and they're working to get the rest of that water out of that area. They're using pumps. They're not trying to clear the drains, so it's going to be here for some time. Sending it back to you, ladies in the studio.
What a big mess. All right, Stu, thank you so much for showing us your vantage point. You could see just how widespread the impacted area is right there in West Hollywood. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Before we head to break,
DWP this morning. They're also being named in a new lawsuit over the delayed people mover at LAX. The project's contractor is suing Los Angeles World Airports, accusing the city of sabotaging progress. The lawsuit claims city officials altered roadway plans and unfairly blamed the builder for a long delay caused by city power outage. The lawsuit alleges the LADWP's fix on a piece of equipment created problems that were later blamed on the developer. The $3.3 billion Skylink train project has missed its goal to be up and running for the World Cup. It's the latest in a string of missed deadlines plaguing the project over the last 2 years. Airport officials say they are reviewing the lawsuit.
We're always looking at our camera at LAX to see when or if that people mover is finally on the move. We'll keep you posted on that. In the meantime, let's talk about this, the heat. We've got this area of high pressure that is still in control of our weather. It is centered over the desert southwest. It's making subtle movements, and right now it's moved just a tiny bit to the east. So our heat is actually going down just a little bit today, but it's still going to be pretty dangerous out there with temperatures still well above average. So we're tapping into the heat as well as the humidity coming up from the southeast, and also a little bit of instability. We still have a chance for some showers, mainly over the deserts and the mountains, but still really pretty widespread extreme heat warnings that are still in effect, with temperatures getting up to 105, 106. That risk for heat-related illness is still there, even at the coast, where we continue to see this heat advisory until tonight. I do think these heat alerts will be allowed to expire tonight, as we do expect a significant drop in those temperatures tomorrow. Look at 92 today for downtown LA, inland Orange County, back down to the 80s tomorrow into the upcoming weekend. We're still going to tap into a bit of that humidity, so it will still feel a little bit more muggy and warmer than what the thermometer reads. However, it won't be quite as hot as it was yesterday. 103 in the valleys and the Inland Empire today, down to 93 tomorrow. Up in the mountains, we do have that instability, so that 20% chance for showers will be with us, and I think we'll see a little bit of that through the upcoming weekend. The high desert, 102, back down to the 90s, a little hotter in the Coachella Valley, so the low desert areas today will be around 109 degrees. So stay heat safe and drink a lot of water as you're out and about. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Maria. Hey, looking for a nice cool treat, of course, Maria, to beat that heat. The executive director of Maine and LA is here to show us some unique, and I say unique, ice cream that you can pick up.
That's right, and you can even sample this Sunday on National Ice Cream Day. Let's welcome John Boiry.
Well, good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning.
So glad to be here and share with you some Made in LA ice cream and toppings that really make National Ice Cream Day exciting. Get your spoons out and get ready.
You've made us happy already.
First, starting with Sad Girl Creamery. They're making this in Culver City. It's a Latina-owned ice cream company called Sad Girl, because you want to eat that ice cream when sometimes you're not feeling good.
Okay,
a whole pint.
Yeah, take a whole pint.
Let me just eat my feelings.
She has a lot of Mexican-inspired flavors, but what you have in your hand is their cereal milk cookie crisp. Take a taste.
Okay. Cereal milk cookie crisp. You should have gotten more of the good stuff.
There's more to eat, don't worry. And so this is great. You can find these at specialty stores, and she also does pop-ups. She's part of Smorgasburg and others.
That is very good.
I'm going to hear that again and again as we keep going down the line. So next we have Coney Island Creamery. These are folks in San Dimas, a manufacturing facility where they specialize in Southeast Asian and Filipino flavors. We have ube and corn ice cream in the purple and the yellow you see here, but they also have a partnership with Cal Poly Pomona where they make avocado ice cream with the students. So you have the avocado, the ube, and the corn. The corn tastes like fresh corn.
I also like avocado. I don't know about ice cream, but let's see.
The verdict? What do you think? It's a little sweet.
I like it. Oh my gosh, it's not what I expected. I would never know this was avocado, would you?
It has that like little refreshing taste of avocado.
Very creamy.
And you can only find that at Cal Poly Pomona.
Oh, wow.
But they do sell it in pints there.
It's very creamy. It's very good.
Only in LA, right? Made in LA. And so then we have a newer ice cream company. They're making in downtown LA. Servette. She is Korean by heritage, but grew up in the Netherlands. And this is take that one. This is their burnt rice.
Oh, burnt rice.
Yes, it's a Korean.
I like the name.
Yes, it's going to be
burnt rice.
It's called nurangji.
Oh, great.
It's traditional there.
I smelled it.
I smell the burnt.
But isn't it delicious?
It is delicious. This is maybe the most unique thing I've ever had, right?
It is very good.
It's actually scorched. I should use the right term. It's scorched. Scorched is the right term.
I smell it more than I taste it. How would you even describe this? Like,
it's not too sweet.
No, it's
but
like,
it has a little sweetness, and
it's like an extra creamy vanilla almost.
And what's great about this flavor and all these flavors, really so LA, right? Multicultural, the diversity of our city.
I do like that.
And these are all made locally. But you can't have an ice cream sundae and celebrate National Ice Cream Day without toppings.
Wait, hang on a second. Oh, I have to try the corn.
Okay, the corn. As you try the corn, and please do.
Wait, so the corn is what? Corn is just corn
maize and queso. Yeah, Filipino. Yeah, very traditional.
Hold on, this is interesting.
Oh, there's bits of corn in it.
Yes.
Okay.
It tastes like fresh corn.
Whoa.
Isn't that amazing?
It tastes like something I would like to eat warm, but now it's cold and it's confusing my brain, but I like it. I like corn.
As long as you like it.
Corn soup. But frozen.
But frozen.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try the ube.
Ube, you gotta love it.
That's my favorite.
Ube's all the rage
Ube's
now.
my favorite. Everyone's copying me now. Everyone wants ube.
You know what's so great about ice cream is that you can sit there and everybody has their own reaction, but everybody likes it. And then sometimes people love that vanilla flavor, and you can find that's made in LA, but we really want to highlight those that are only found here, and that's what you find in this.
And what were you going to say about toppings?
Toppings, also made in LA, and you want to have those unique toppings. Here we have pecan amour. You gotta get another scoop so I can drink it.
No, can I pick my pint?
Yeah, pick your pint.
I'm not kidding when
pick your
I'm
pint.
saying I'm going to
This
eat
is
my
their
feelings
sweet
right now.
and spicy crumbles, and this is amazing on top of ice cream.
Here.
Again, with a
I feel
vanilla.
like I gotta go plain.
Let me just do a little bit
Oh,
there.
you're just doing a spoonful?
Oh, yeah.
Well, what else were we gonna do?
I was going to go
But
for
pecan
it.
amour is right here in West LA. They have a whole line of pecan. You can also use their chopped pecans
Very
on top.
nice texture.
Yeah.
I want more.
You want more?
Thank
It
you.
looks like tahini. Is it spicy?
It's sweet and spicy.
Sweet and spicy.
There's a
I
little
don't
bit.
taste any spice.
Maybe the ice cream canceled it out a
Maybe.
little bit, but it's
the burnt, scorched.
scorched.
Yeah.
Spicy, right? Sweet.
Interesting.
Next, we have From Moon Kitchen. They're in Central LA. These are their sea moss peanuts. You can try those without having to use ice cream. But
Sea moss.
Sea moss.
Put it here.
Yeah, there you go.
Interesting.
But awesome treat. Again, they're available. All these products are available at Wine and Eggs and Olive Wine and Liquor and a number of specialty stores. But this Sunday on National Ice Cream Day, Olive Wine and Liquor in Burbank will be hosting a sampling of these flavors and these toppings. You can make a mini sundae if you go in it from 2 to 4 p.m.
Sunday. Very
so
good.
National Ice Cream Day.
very gourmet.
Last is the amazing, you think about chocolate sauce, you think about hot fudge. This is Rooted Fare.
black
They started in Alhambra. It's black sesame butter.
Okay. I
It's
love it.
delicious.
That's
You gotta
very
get it here.
Asian.
I'm going to pull it up here.
do it.
And you
Okay.
can try this.
Well, this.
can you put
Wow.
This is woman-owned as well. They just expanded to a new facility.
this.
But it is
Nice.
remarkable. Yeah.
I like this. I feel like I would put this on toast.
Yeah, you could put it on a number of things. Ice cream, toast, you could put it on fruit. But all of these products innovated, made in LA. And that's what's so great about what happens here with businesses in LA. We're a hotbed of innovation and
So unique. Really,
So
truly,
delicious.
this was amazing. Thank you so much. Again, you can check out all of this stuff. Sample on Sunday from 2 to 4 at Olive Wine and Liquor with Made in LA Topping Bar. How
Go try the
fun.
black sesame. So good. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Happy National Ice Cream Day.
Happy, well, we're celebrating a few days
We can
early,
always
but hey, we
celebrate.
can celebrate until Monday.
Absolutely. We sell it every day.
Yeah. We'll be right back. That was really good.
Delicious.
Super good.
My favorite is this
That one?
Yeah. You can't find it anywhere else.
we continue to follow breaking news out of West Hollywood this morning, where a major water main break triggered massive flooding and a lot of damage.
Yeah, all that water was gushing for hours before getting shut off, and Mario Ramirez is live at the scene with the very latest as it stands right now. Mario?
Yeah, they're still assessing the damage out here, but there is lots of it. You might be able to hear some of the fire alarms that have been re-triggered. They stopped for about an hour earlier this morning, and just take a look behind me, that massive sinkhole here right now. The force of the water is so powerful this morning, it ripped up a part of the roadway here, creating that sinkhole along the Sunset Strip at Holloway Drive, and now LADWP crews are using pumps to remove all that standing water from the area so they can safely assess the damage and begin repairs. And exactly how long that'll take, we just don't know right now. So let's go to the video here and show you the height of this incident. The break reported just after 3 o'clock this morning. This is near the intersection of Sunset and Holloway Drive, a very popular area, major thoroughfare. Water from that broken main rushing through the neighborhood here for several hours before crews were able to stop the flow around 7 a.m. So roughly 4 hours with thousands of gallons of water rushing south down Palm Avenue, where it flooded the street, swamped parked vehicles. It sent water pouring into apartment complex garages here before it went downhill towards Santa Monica Boulevard. And we saw residents coming out from their homes to find the streets covered in water, debris, some going through the flood waters to check on their property, others trying to drive through it. Now, that flooding prompted a large response from LADWP, who, after hours of what we saw was gushing water here with no agency on top of this, LADWP said, this is our pipe, we're working on it, and again, the water was shut off by 7 o'clock. We heard from Mayor Karen Bass, who oversees the LADWP. She was out here at the scene saying this underscores the challenges of maintaining infrastructure that has been in service for more than 100 years old. And take a listen to what she had to say.
I spent the last couple of years developing a comprehensive infrastructure plan, of which we rolled out about 2 months ago. One of the first steps for our city to have a plan, we had to change different aspects of the city charter. Those parts of the city charter that needed to be changed passed City Council in their last session and will be on the ballot in November. Up until now, the city's infrastructure was handled on a 15 council person basis. And so it is very difficult to repair the infrastructure that impacts the entire city, and clearly 2 cities, West Hollywood and Los Angeles, without a citywide plan.
All right, now we want to show you the scene from Skyfox up above. Stu has been on this as well, giving us shots that show the scope of this. Several streets are still closed here near Holloway and Sunset. Again, a major thoroughfare, and officials urging drivers to avoid the area until that damage can be assessed and the roadway is safe to open. No official timeline. Now, officials say it's no coincidence that so many of these big water main breaks are happening overnight. When water use drops while people are sleeping, the pressure inside the system goes up, and that added stress is enough to cause an aging pipe to fail. And if we come back out here live, in this case, the pipe dates back to 1916, making it more than 100 years old. And we heard officials out here detailing all of that. Now, despite the size of the break, officials do say that the majority of customers have been with water. We've been hearing throughout the morning, many have been complaining that they had very little pressure or no water at all, but it does seem like more and more are regaining service here this morning as crews continue their work out here. But if you can avoid this area, do so. We don't know how long this will take, but at least for quite a while throughout the day, this will be a major issue impacting traffic. We'll send it back to you.
Yes, absolutely, Mario. Thank you. And Brooks out there on the scene as well, impacting not only traffic, but really people's lives and livelihoods at this point, Brooke.
No, you're right. That's the biggest message, what Mario just said. Avoid this area. They're not even saying if you can avoid this area, you should. They're saying stay away from this area for your safety, and honestly, because right where I am, at least, on Sunset, you can't get through anyway. We just talked to someone, an unexpected person. She looked like she just woke up, and she is staying at the London. She ended up over here near the barrier and was trying to figure out how to get to her hotel. And the answer is go around. You have to. And obviously, this is, if you can see a little bit of it, a bit of the reason why. No, come, feel free. Come on through. Don't worry about it. Representative from the fire department is kind of like stuck behind this slew of cameras here. But it's a little bit blocked right here, but you can still see a bit of it. This sinkhole sinkhole. This massive sinkhole right there in the middle of the intersection at Sunset and Holloway is the biggest concern right now. Of course, when I say that's the biggest concern, there are immediate concerns that people are dealing with personally. There are still people who have underground garages, and water is still flowing through their garages, I should say still puddled in their garages, and they're working on getting that out. There's also the question of water usage, right? Your normal water usage out of your faucets, your toilet, your shower. Here's what officials had to say about that earlier this morning. I'm not sure if we have that sound. I can't hear it in my ear, but just coming back here, I want to go back to this sinkhole right here is the major issue right now. They are saying that from now until they are not sure when the commute, the traffic on Sunset is going to be a concern. It is blocked off for quite a bit, so keep that in mind, and also call ahead because many of these businesses are closed and they are not sure when they are going to open back up. I'll send things back to you all in the studio.
Entirely such a big mess right there. Gosh, it's going to take quite some time, as Brooke was mentioning, to really assess even just all the damage, never mind trying to start fixing it all and cleaning it up. So
and getting things back to normal.
Right,
Yeah.
And they're trying definitely to pump out all that water right there. Let's go to Stu in Sky Fox for a bigger picture on the whole entire area this is encompassing. Stu?
Hey, good morning, ladies. Yeah, this is going to be ground zero right there. This is where that water main I don't know why I always have trouble with that, where this water main broke this morning. That's going to be Sunset right near Holloway and Pine. And that water, we saw it rushing, basically slamming into that restaurant. That's going to be Dialogue. But actually, we're hearing that not that much damage, if any, inside. But let's follow that sidewalk. It really it gets worse and worse. Dug a huge hole right there, exposing a bunch of other utilities and other items right there. Moved concrete out of the way as it made its way down Pine. You can see like you got crews down there, and now they are actually shutting down the street itself. We saw some police activity there earlier on. The fire department, they're still here. And what are they doing? Well, they're actually helping to pump out some of the water, but those firefighters are also checking for damage, taking a look at structural integrity, and just keeping an eye on what's going on and what's being discovered as the water is being taken out. This retaining wall that we're showing you right there didn't fall, but this morning it looked like a huge waterfall until the water basically made its way all the way up to that first floor. The water kept going down the way. More damage right there. Sidewalks ripped up. Huge pieces of concrete just moved. All this dirt. We watched, now that it's drying up, we actually see that other complexes in the area got flooded as well. And we're hearing that some homes inside there actually had water standing in them as well. Making way farther south here, pretty much every building has a little story to tell. There's one of those retaining walls that actually fell because of all of that water. And again, where did it wind up? Well, it ended up off of Santa Monica. Take a look at Santa Monica Boulevard. It looks like a dirt road down there. Now, we did see a crew with a earth-moving piece of equipment, not like a snow plow, but maybe something to move some heavy dirt parked there on the side of the road. Possibly they're going to have to do some closures to start cleaning that up. Right now, though, you can see the road's still open, but it is definitely looking like like an old-school dirt road, basically between San Vicente and La Cienega. In the end, that lot right here in the early morning hours, those buses, the water basically covering up some of those wheel wells. So that was a lot of water standing in this area. The drainage, it was doing the best it could, but I don't think it was ever designed for like thousands of gallons per minute. In the end, the dirt and maybe other debris clogged a lot of those drains. You have crews out here now trying to pump that water out. They're doing what they can. As far as those buses go, we did see one or two depart, but after that, it kind of just stalled out. I don't know what they use these for, if maybe this is a storage area or if they are supposed to be out on the roadway, but we do know that most of them just remain here on that lot. That water still standing, and of course, even when that water is gone, the cleanup, the stories, the devastation on Pine, and also on Hancock, the street that runs right next door. We did take a look at some of those as well. Mud coming out of some of those parking garages. So there is devastation at blocks down there in this West Hollywood neighborhood. I'm Stu up in Skyvox. Sending it all back to you.
Big story this morning, and we've been covering it for hours now, and slowly things are starting to get a little cleaner. The water at least stopped flowing, but oh my gosh, the damage is done, and it's going to take quite a while to get things up and running again. And so we're mindful of the fact that this is impacting a lot of people's not only day, but lives for the next foreseeable future with all the businesses and the residents in the surrounding area. Thank you so much, Stu, Brooke, and Mario. And now this story that had our attention.
Certainly did.
Certainly unique. We cover a lot of pursuits. This was different. A pursuit suspect under arrest now after trying to evade officers by swimming into the ocean. So it all started around 7:30 in the morning when the man wanted on a felony warrant took off on foot when the LAPD tried to contact him in Pacific Palisades. The foot chase ended at Will Rogers State Beach, where that suspect ran into the ocean. He was trying to escape. He was hoping he would do so. He actually stayed. You're seeing the kind of the ending of all this, but he stayed in that water, treading water for quite a while, and the two lifeguards were just kind of hanging out around him, talking to him. No idea what they were talking about, but they were trying to convince him, I think, to just give up. I don't know if you can tell, but he was also pantless. So that was also a factor in all of this. Finally, we saw it kind of come to an end.
This is where he went underwater, and then obviously the lifeguards had to jump in. I don't know what provoked him to change his actions, because he was treading water for around 30 minutes, just hanging out. And then there you saw it. They had to jump into action.
He was fighting them, though, for quite a while in the water. And even on the boat, when they got him on the boat, he was really struggling. He did not want to give up.
That's right. He didn't want to be taken into custody. They had to cover him up with life jackets in terms of his private parts, and also try to get him into custody with handcuffs.
Which they did. Yeah, it seems like the lifeguard jumped in, because for a moment he kind of went underwater, and I guess the lifeguard thought, oh, you know, he's run out of energy, right? His endurance level. But then he struggled with them. He was even like pushing them into pushing their head in at one point. I remember seeing that. So it got a little hectic.
That's right. But not the ending of a pursuit that we see quite often.
Yeah.
Right, Maria?
Yeah, this was one of the rarer ones that we have seen. But yeah, he looked like he was kind of under distress, and so that lifeguard jumped in, did what he would normally do, is rescue someone, no matter who you are, right? But this was an interesting pursuit, to say the least. All right, that ended well, so that's a good thing. In terms of the heat, that is still with us today. That ocean water looks good. It is refreshing. Those temperatures are in the upper 60s to near 70. So if you are planning a day at the beach, we do have a heat advisory that is in effect there. We do have the temperatures that we reached yesterday here, 97 in Burbank. Yesterday, downtown LA, 94. That was the hottest temperature so far we have seen all summer. 102 in Ontario to 114 in Palm Springs yesterday. Not much in the way of cloud cover you saw with that live shot in Santa Monica, so we've got a lot of sunshine. Most of the monsoonal activity you can see on the edge of your screen here on the right hand side over parts of Arizona, the desert Southwest, but we could see still a little bit of that action as well in our desert communities like the Coachella Valley and our mountain locations. 90 degrees is what is the temperature now in San Bernardino, so it is hot. 84 in Pasadena, 88 in Woodland Hills, to that 77 in Santa Ana, 76 in Huntington Beach, and 97 in Palm Springs. And it's Palm Springs. It's going to be the hot spot again. 109, a little humidity, and it'll feel warmer than that. 102 in the high desert. Still that slight chance for some showers there in the deserts and the mountains. 83 in Big Bear eventually this afternoon, to that 92 for downtown LA. So a couple degrees cooler, if you will, than yesterday, but not cool yet. We will reserve that for perhaps this weekend as temperatures really take a little bit of a tumble. I'll show you those days and the extended outlook coming up in just a few moments. In the meantime, let's go to Samada with a look at the heavy traffic conditions out there, Samada.
Oh, it is just going to continue to be horrible in the West Hollywood area. Good daily traffic brought to you by My Home Sold. And let's take you out there right now. Look at our real-time traffic and the closures that remain in place. Now Now, it's all due to that major water main break causing massive flooding conditions, and all that is now receding, but still a lot of impact. Sunset Boulevard and Holloway Drive continue to be shut down in both directions, and also closed is Larrabee Street between Santa Monica Boulevard and Sunset as well. Santa Monica Boulevard, we understand, is open for now, but expect moving breaks. And Santa Monica Boulevard, due to all that rushing water that is now receded, it's left behind a lot of dirt, so a lot of cleanup work that still needs to be done. Not only is it going to impact your just typical drive, but metro lines are being impacted as well. So if you happen to take any one of these lines, you want to make sure you plan accordingly, from the 2 all the way to the 627. And again, cannot stress this enough, avoid the area until further notice. Residents need to stay indoors, and that's all due to the unstable and the possibility of additional buckling streets and roads. Widespread commute impacts all the way through at least this evening, and crews again assessing the damage. If you are impacted by this water main break, you want to go ahead and visit ladwp.com/claims. Here's a look at some other traffic hotspots.
Hi, I'm Adrian with My Home Sold, and we want to buy your house. We buy any house in any condition. No commissions, no closing costs, and no repairs. Go to myhomesold.com for a free same-day cash offer. That's myhomesold.com.
Good Day LA traffic.
With temperatures expected to soar again today, fire crews across Southern California are on the lookout for any signs of trouble.
Quick action by firefighters yesterday saved a neighborhood in Santa Clarita. Let's go to Gigi live with the story. Gigi.
Good morning. It's already 91 degrees here in Santa Clarita with a real feel of about 102. And take a look, because today the focus is going to be on the hand crews. They are doing the hard work because even though the fire already burnt through here, there are at least over 1,000 hot spots still on the mountain on this side, and then on the other side, you're looking live. We're on Spirit Court. This is right off of Center Point Parkway. On the other side, you have Gravette, you have homes, residents. This is a mixed-use neighborhood, very industrial. You've got the high school down the street, but you also have pockets of homes. Now, let me show you what the fire looked like yesterday when it broke out at about 1:40 in the afternoon. Again, the real feel was triple-digit temperatures, and this fire moved very quickly. It only ended up burning just over 50 acres, but the way it was spreading, a lot of folks not home at that hour. They were out running errands. They were at work when they got word the fire was threatening their homes. Evacuation warnings were being issued, and folks rushed home to get their loved ones, to get their pets, and to take out anything they could carry just in case that fire continued to spread.
I was headed to Costco, and I was like, that's close to our house. Let's go drive by really fast. And I pulled in, and the flames were right here in this parking lot. Yeah. So I grabbed my kids that didn't even know the sheriffs were telling them to leave. And my dogs. They said they did not hear it, the sheriff's sirens going off. And I grabbed the dogs, and I told them to go to Walmart, and I went to my neighbor's house and grabbed her dogs and met everybody at Walmart.
I mean, like I said, we were coming back from LA when I started getting the dings and seeing, I go, oh my gosh, I told my husband, this is our house. And one of my neighbors called me, so we spoke, and she goes, you know what, let's pray. So we just started praying over the community. We just feel so blessed and honored that it didn't come to us. This is everything we own.
Now, again, today the focus is going to be on the hand crews with the Los Angeles County Fire Department. They moved in early this morning, and they'll be here throughout the day working on those hot spots. Right now, there's a light breeze, and that's always a concern, especially in the afternoon when temperatures get much hotter and when that wind can kick up. Always a chance that it could spark a new fire. This morning, there were no active flames. LA County Fire has had their drone up flying the mountain all morning long. There were several reports of a little smoke, but that turned out to be just those hot spots. Now, if you see something, of course, call 911, signal a firefighter. They're going to be staged in the Santa Clarita neighborhood all day long, just in case. Reporting live in Santa Clarita, I'm Gigi Graciette. Back to you.
All right, Gigi, thank you. And firefighters battling the Summit Fire in the Antelope Valley continue to make progress. Officials say the fire is now 86% contained. It's burned nearly 2,700 acres near the LA and San Bernardino County line since it started last Friday.
Some good news in Azusa, where firefighters say the zebra fire now 80% contained. LA County Fire, that is, saying about 25 acres have burned since that fire started on Monday in steep terrain near the mouth of San Gabriel Canyon. No structures are threatened. The cause, though, is under investigation.
California, not the only place dealing with heat and wildfires. Right now, there are more than 100 wildfires burning in Canada. Meanwhile, a freight train crew filmed themselves surrounded by flames in northern Ontario. Railroad officials say these trains carrying flammable materials were stopped for a time because of the infernos. Miraculously, the crew that shot this video is now safe.
Thousands of visitors were evacuated from a remote wilderness area in Minnesota, accessible only by boat. The smoke from those wildfires created heavy haze in parts of the U.S. This is the Mackinac Bridge in Michigan. The bridge appears that it's disappearing. You can't even really see it much, right? Wow. Underneath all that haze, you really have to laser focus. And this is in Massachusetts. The video showing an orange sky north of Boston yesterday. In New York, you had the dense haze seen in the northwestern part of the state. The National Weather Service is encouraging people in impacted areas to really limit the time you spend outdoors.
The police department of the city of Valmonte is showing up for one girl who is in dire need of some medical assistance.
Stella Valle is battling a serious medical condition, and she's in desperate need of a bone marrow transplant. Joining us this morning is Stella's dad, Sergeant Frankie Valle. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for being with us this morning. Let's talk a little bit about Stella and what she's going through and what you as a family are going through.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Thanks for taking us on so we could talk about Stella. So my beautiful daughter is battling aplastic anemia, which is a severe bone marrow failure disease. And as of thus far in the process, the medications that she's been taking and some of the treatments have not worked. And now we're working towards finding a donor for her to save her life, to get her bone marrow going again and get her back on track with life.
How old is she, and how long has she been dealing with this?
So this began at the beginning of the year. She's 17 years old. She's Upland High School, straight A student, flag football player, softball player who seems like almost overnight her life was flipped upside down. So that's why we're out here today, to try and actually spread the awareness for aplastic anemia and hopefully find her a donor.
Yeah, it must be so hard for you, for your family, and obviously for Stella as well, going through all this in high school. What's the process like? Because you do have to be matched in order to make sure you're the right donor for your bone marrow. So tell us about today and what you're trying to do.
Yeah, so today with the El Monte Police Officers Foundation, in conjunction with the National Marrow Donors Program, we're going to be conducting a swab event. It's a quick cheek swab, doesn't take more than a few seconds, where they get a sample and it's put into a worldwide database to try and compare and find a match for people like my daughter Stella and the thousands around the world that are fighting this battle against aplastic anemia.
So people just come out there, they get a quick swab, and that's all they have to do until they're told otherwise. If there is a match, really, it's just about making the effort to come down there, and you really are, in the end, God willing, saving someone's life.
Yeah, so we'll be down at the El Monte Police Department today from 11 to 4. Again, we're going to have the swabbing event. In addition to that, we are having a fundraiser to raise money for Stella and my family, as she's got a long battle ahead with medical bills and other costs that will be incurred along the way. But most importantly, just to show Stella that we're all behind her, and that she's got a joint effort